Live and direct, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, we are back from our intermission to wrap up and finish the final tail end of day one of the two-day Quantum Leap Forum presented by the Los Angeles Tribune. And of course, we're going to start off this second section of the first day with a real exciting treat. And before we do that, though, Natalie, what are your thoughts on the day so far?
I am as blown away, if not more than I thought, because I think every single person in the virtual auditorium, as well as in our area, in our rooms, was just amazing. They were really all giving, and there was a common thread, because it was about service. It was about follow your heart. Everybody said that, and they hadn't even talked about it before. So I'm amazed, and I know we're going to hear much more about that with some of the speakers later. But I also know that the first thing coming up is going to talk a lot about that directly or indirectly. And I'm just thrilled, and I just want to sit back and watch.
Absolutely. And of course, you're talking about the highly anticipated debut. We at the Los Angeles Tribune have an exclusive debut from the Goldilocks band. Of course, many of you know the Goldilocks band. They have been on the Billboard charts. Their lead singer, Goldie, of course, has been hosting this event with us. And she's one of our columnists. And she's also a seasoned veteran in the music industry. And along with Serge and Rod, they have this incredible trio that has been just blowing people away in the music industry, even as other bands have sort of ceased operation due to the pandemic. They have been consistent. They have a real supportive group of folks on Patreon that are supporting them, keeping them active. And we're so excited to hear and see the music video from the Goldilocks band, of course, the Billboard chart-topping band. And let's go watch that video. This is the debut, and then we're going to come right back with an exclusive interview with the Goldilocks bandmates. So let's go ahead and watch Brave by the Goldilocks band. This is the debut.
You can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast, be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do when they settle neath your skin. Kept on the inside and no sunlight, sometimes a shadow wins. But I wonder what would happen if you say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave with what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. Just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Everybody's been there, everybody's been stared down by the enemy. Falling for the fear and ducks are disappearing. Bow down to the mighty. But don't run, stop holding your tongue. Maybe there's a way out of the cage where you live. Maybe one of these days you can let the light in. Show me how big your brave is. Say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave with what you wanna say
pretty brave to sing this song. Damn, Ty.
Wow, what a incredible video and song. And we are going to bring in the Goldilocks band to talk exclusively. But before we do that, if you like the merchandise you saw in that video, guys, it's all available at the Goldilocks store. So be sure to check it out. You can get the limited edition LA Tribune Goldilocks t-shirt available, where proceeds will be going to charity. And with that being said, let's bring in the Goldilocks band. Wow, guys, congratulations on an incredible music video. So please, let's start with you, Goldie. What was your vision behind that?
You know, it goes back to what David Meltzer said with the Goya, and kind of in Quantum Leap and keeping in tradition with our forum today. We wanted to do a video just thanking everybody, trying to figure out something positive about 2020, you know, just thanking all the people. Like for me, I was complaining about wearing a mask, or I was too hot. And, you know, you've got medical professionals that are working like not only 24 hours, but, you know, 2-3 days in a row with like triple, quadruple masks and shields on. And we just tried to do something to thank everybody, first responders. And there's even some stuff with the police in there. We just found as much footage as we could. And the get off your ass with the guys is, you know, these guys are so great, Mo. Like, thank you, Pankaj. Thank you so much. These guys are so great. Like, they literally, we filmed this.
Dave.
We filmed this in the middle of the night, you know, in places that we weren't even supposed to be. So, Carolyn Taggart,
thank you.
Yeah. So just, you know, the vision was just to say thanks, Mo. I'll let the guys talk. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Sheila.
Amazing. And you know, let's take it now. First of all, Rod and Serge, of course, many people remember them from the last event where you guys did such a fantastic job. But this is the first time we've actually had them with us live to speak. So let's start with Rod. Rod, I know you've been with Goldie for a long time. What was your vision with this particular project?
Well, you know, Mo, what's going on? I mean, with everything that's going on in the world, this is like our give back to everyone, just because so many people have been out on the front lines and they've been really, you know, put on the front lines, and no matter what, they just keep pushing. And this is our tribute to give back.
Amazing. And let's now go to Serge. Serge, what is your vision and feeling towards this latest project you guys just put out?
Yeah, I mean, Rod pretty much said it all. I mean, in terms of the video, you know, giving back to 2020 since everything was taken from us. But, you know, the funny thing about the song is it wasn't really, like, supposed to be, like, that good. Like, ironically enough, like, basically Rod and I ended up just getting together one night to jam this song because we were supposed to play it for a different, like, live music video thing. And I didn't like it at all, like the way we were playing it. I was just like, nah, man, I don't like this pop stuff. Like the drums are too pop, the vocals are too pop, the guitars are too like whatever. There was like no guitars in the song. So we ended up just like starting to record some bass. And then that ended up becoming like what you hear now. And we just laid down like all the tracks in one night.
Amazing. We're going to watch a quick clip of you guys in September when you guys performed live at the last event. I'm trying to decide whether we should go with All To You or A Time of Your Life. What do you think, Serge?
You like the other one.
All right, let's go do it. We'll be back in a few minutes, guys. Watch this.
Yes, me.
Hey, everyone. We're the Goldilocks band. We're going to play another song. You might know this one. If you do, sing along. Oh, back here, Rod Saylor, my best friend, over here on the cajon and bongos. And our other bandmate, that guy.
That's right, I'm a nobody. Only the guy that's going to sing this song.
Serge Strobin on guitar and vocals. You ready?
I'm ready.
Wait, don't you just stop it?
Yeah. Oh, you want me to?
All right, let's go.
Oh, yeah, because he says a cuss word.
at the turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Yeah.
So take the photographs and still frames in your mind. Hang it on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on track. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Do it one more time. We'll break it down.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Thanks, everybody. We're the Goldilocks Band. Appreciate you.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I love that rendition that you guys did together. So to tell us, what is it that you guys want the Goldilocks Band to really stand for in today's music industry? I want to hear from all three of you regarding what it is that your vision is and mission is. Let's start with you, Serge.
Well, I mean, I guess now our vision is to stand out from every other band. I feel like our band's always just coming up with new ideas to, step outside the box in terms of marketing, promotion, doing music videos constantly. And it kind of works out for all of us just because we all have like our own video, audio, setups at home where we can just get together and literally film a music video on the fly. And then the same thing with recording any new songs. Like we have Rod's studio, we have Goldie's studio, and all the mics you could ever want in a studio. So it just like, it makes it super accessible for us. And honestly, I think that's the way of the future. And it kind of sucks, I guess, like for bands that don't, necessarily have the money to have like a full recording studio in their house. But even for people now that can do the basement studio or the home studio, like that's the way of the future for music, is just constantly pushing out videos and new music like every couple of months, honestly.
Rod?
Yeah, well, I mean, always to be outside the box, but there's so many positive things that we could do as far as moving forward and just getting so many people and so help to so many people. That's the main thing, is that all of us, all three of us, have such big hearts, and we're always trying to give someone else some credit that they don't normally get. And that's a big thing to us. And for us to get that positive vibe and that positive word out there, that I think that's important. And like Serge said, I mean, I don't think we have limits. I think that if we don't know what we're doing, we figure it out, and we take those steps that nobody else does. Most other bands will just give up on stuff because they don't understand something, or they don't want to learn, and that's not what we are all about. We want to learn. We want to move forward.
Amazing. And I think that's what makes you guys really different than a lot of the bands that are out there. Goldie, what is your perspective on what you want for the future of the Goldilocks band?
Mo, thank you so much for having us and holding up the merch and the LA Tribune and the swag and everything. And Rod really summed it up. I mean, we are known to be one of the most professional, nicest bands in rock, pop rock, whatever you want to call us, what genre. And it's about positivity. And it really is about, like, I know you have a project coming up. I won't say exactly with the Los Angeles Tribune, but it really does revolve around leadership and responsibility that you have. Like I've said a million times, if you say that music or entertainment doesn't influence you or doesn't speak to your brain, or we were talking about right off the bat, somebody said crap in, crap out. There is no crap in. It's like it stays there. Remember the top of the first forum hour. And we have a responsibility to put out positive vibes and to try to, our favorite thing is including people. And the biggest deal that we have are our supporters, followers, our patrons. Like it's everything. They are everything to us. And it's all about including as many people as you can. And like Rod so eloquently said it, it's just giving people the chance to shine that might not be able to. That's why, Wednesday night when we show this video again, everybody's name will be in the credits. Like, we love that more than anything. And that's very sincere and very authentic. So we thank you, all of us, for giving us a platform and an opportunity to show this today and to let everybody know, first responders and all the medical, everyone, just how grateful and appreciative we are.
Awesome. So let's hear some final thoughts, final words from Serge. I know in addition to the Goldilocks band, you have an awesome podcast and different projects. So please just fill in our audience with some of the cool stuff you got going on, Serge.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, you gave me the opportunity to do some more cool stuff on Amazon Fire Stick and Roku TV. So now I have a show coming out called The Purge with my friend / co-host / producer of the show, Nikki Wazo, who lives in Alberta, Canada. And it's pretty much a music show. Like, if you like Wayne's World, Headbangers Ball, Get Off My Lawn, like a mix of everything in between that, with a lot of really funny skits, like SNL style stuff. We're doing that. And then I have my Subscribe Star page where you can pay for that. And my podcast is on there as well, with other exclusive stuff and our band Patreon. A lot of stuff.
Thank you, Serge. Rod, floor is yours. Final thoughts that you can share with our audience about what you're up to and what your message is, just to impact the people at home.
Well, I just, everybody that this past couple of years, I guess we're into our second year now, but it has been so tough on so many people, and so many people are struggling. So before anybody jumps to conclusions, make sure you stop, breathe, and actually give some thanks out, because so many people need that right now. So many people are dealing with some mental issues that they're not showing on the top. And that's something that's close to me. And I really think that through everything going on today, people need to be aware of those signs, and they really need to reach out and include people.
Amazing.
And Rod does do virtual, so does Serge, lessons, drums, guitar, which they didn't say. They're phenomenal teachers. If you're in the Nashville area, go visit Rod in person. He's got more drum kits set up than anybody needs to have in one home. These guys are incredible instructors. They're very patient. Hey, David Solomon, all the way from where. Thank you. And Mo, thanks again. Dr. Forrest, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Mo.
Thank you, Serge and Rod and Goldie.
You,
we're going to have you take off the Goldilocks band hat and put on the LA Tribune hat, and we're going to keep you around. There we go. Because we still have some work to do. But thank you, Serge and Rod. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Mo.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Peace.
Great, guys.
And
so much.
Let's bring in Dr. Natalie Forrest. And, next up we have somebody who I know the two of you really like.
There he is.
I love, because I've said this before. I'll say it again. This gentleman's book is not a book that you read. This is a book that you study. His book is not something that you just, casually go through with the fireplace on. His book is a book you got to have your pencil in your hand. You got to take notes. You got to, have underlines. You got to have notes. And he is just such a force to be reckoned with. He has so much energy. He has helped so many people with their careers. He's helped so many people earn so much money in crypto and all the different incredible stuff that he does. Of course, I'm talking about Carlos, the one and only. Let's bring him in right now. Welcome.
What's up, beautiful people? Here's a message. You gotta stop trying to please everyone. Somebody drop a name in for this panel here. Ladies and gentlemen, Goldie, I was over here in the back thinking like in 1980s, listening to your song, and I was like, yeah, baby. I was like, what's up, guys? Is everybody fired up? How is everybody doing?
We're doing amazing, Carlos, and I'm so excited to see you here. And I am gonna sit back and watch you and Goldie have an incredible conversation with one another, because what I know is the two of you are rock stars in your own lives, right? And I'm really excited to see what kind of energy the two of you share together. And we're going to sit back and enjoy a powerful, authentic conversation with the two of you. It's not going to be an interview style. It's just going to be two real souls that are authentic, that are honest, that are full of integrity, talking about leadership and talking about what people can do to lead their lives and lead their businesses. So with that, Dr. Forrest and I will step back, let Goldie run the show with the one and only Carlos, author of Work Like an Immigrant, one of my favorite books of all time. Carlos, Goldie, the floor is yours.
Oh my, there's gonna be a lot of cursing during this section.
How you doing, sister? Oh, my friend. So, wow, your song, oh my God, phenomenal.
That was a cover. That was a cover. So there you go. Two covers. Thank you.
I was visualizing being there live right now. I want you guys to visualize being with Goldie and I live right now. Who here misses? I want you guys to light up the comment and tag somebody here right now. I'm telling you guys, Goldie and I, we are anointed right now. We are fired up. We're going to bring to a whole nother level here. And you never know, one tip, one message that Goldie and I can share with you guys that can change your entire life. You guys just never know when you are a few feet away from the gold. And I want you guys here with us. Turn off all your notifications. Just stay here. Be present with us because we're going to bring it to you guys. And I want you guys to imagine we are live, in their favorite place. I love like Yucatan, Cancun. So we are outside in the beach. We are on a stage right now, Goldie and I, and you guys are all there in the beach. And then that's a bonfire. And we're about to have an awesome time bringing massive value to you guys here. I want you guys to light it up, that comment right now, and tag 3 people here right now to the LA Tribune Live, from whatever you are watching from. Tag 3 people here. And I promise you, we're going to bring massive, massive value to you guys. It's on, family. It's on. Your boy Carlos is fired up.
You always are fired up, and you have such a great story. And I've interviewed you before. I know your story well. I've purchased your book right out of the gate, went to Amazon and got it. It is something that, your book, like you, is interactive. There are things to do and to learn that's not like other books. That's why everybody needs to just go out and get it. But I wanted to ask you, because I'm thinking of it myself, so I'm probably going to steal your answer for later on or tomorrow. When they asked you to do Quantum Leap, the Quantum Leap Forum, and we'll get into your story, but what does that mean to you? Because you are a tremendous leader in so many different fields and areas, your hands in so many pots. But what does Quantum Leap mean to you in 2021?
Man, I just love that. When I saw the title for this community, this is like an anointed event. This is beyond an event. You see, guys, when I think about quantum, I study quantum. I love quantum stuff. But when you think of quantum, I think energy.
Okay.
Massive energy. And I want you guys to think about this here for a minute. Good and evil, it takes a lot of energy. The energy that it took, that my father died in a car explosion, the same energy that takes for a mother to have a little baby, 14.8 pounds in the middle of the jungle, a little Brazilian gorilla named Carlos. The energy that it takes to leave the hood, to go in, day out for a long, long time, making 50 cents a day so that you could improve and better the lives for your loved ones, so you didn't have to see your mother suffer and being abused, and you no longer have to see somebody die. So whether is the energy good or evil, it takes quantum leap. You have to have that leap. You have to have that faith, and you have to bring that quantum energy. You have to find that energy when nobody else is there to push you, when anybody that you love, that you care, when that person is not there to pat you in the back, to inspire you. You know what I mean? Finding that energy deep inside of you, my friend. I want you guys to know at home that I know what it feels not having it. Lack, poverty, having people taken away from you from murder, not having enough food, being credit card debt, car repossessed, alcohol, drugs. I feel you. I've been through it. And you know the drill, ladies and gentlemen. What we grow through, what we go through, we grow through it. But sometimes it will take this quantum energy that you're going to have to find when you don't feel like it. It's going to be things like the pandemic. It's going to be things that's going to happen in your life. You guys, Goldie, she has an incredible story that we're going to be on the top of the world and share what happened. And God, as fast as he give it to us, he'll take us down. But let me tell you something, my friend. God would never, ever, ever will put a Goliath. He will put it in front of you to awaken the David within you. Come on, brother Carlos. God will put a Goliath in front of you to awaken the David within you, my friend. And I want you guys to know that right now you are here for a reason, watching this live. And we're about to take it to a whole nother level, because you never know when you are a few feet away from the goal that we can share a few things here with you guys that can change everything. Because you know how it is, Goldie. A lot of things out there, they don't want people to know. They don't want people to, learn how to think. They wanted to program you. They don't want you to think for yourself. They don't want to teach you what the 1% is doing. They don't want you to understand that the banks and the hedge fund companies and all these institutions out there is a bunch of crooks. They don't want the 99% to know. Why? Because they are controlling it. And I love sharing it with the 99%, what they're doing it, so we can better everybody's lives together by separating myself from all outcomes. You know what I mean? It's like taking the emotions from all outcomes. Whenever you go into anything, a new career, a new business, a new relationship, a new job, when you are investing, when you're doing anything, take the emotions out. Like, become mentally tough. You know what I mean? Find that quantum energy inside of your body. It's all within us. And then take that leap of faith. Just like the definition of the word faith. You know it's there, even though you cannot see it. Your dream, your desires is right there, my friends. It's so close to you. You might don't see it. It might seem far away. You might be in like so much debt right now. But let me tell you something. It's possible. Somebody pat yourself in the back right now and say the word "is possible." Type it in below in the comment. It's possible. Do not quit on your brother Carlos. You feel me? Oh, my friend, I'm just fired up. So quantum leap. So I love those words.
I know your story, and you just referenced, I was a kid. I know that you sold your bread. I know things were hard. I know you saw terrible things, bad things. A friend of mine and I were driving the other day, and we were talking about when sorry. Well, yeah, I can swear. When crap hit the fan. And I had somebody else ask me when I was in bad times, dark times, but terrible abusive relationship, lost my job, record deal, publishing deal, everything went down the toilet. And I remember this other friend saying to me, when was enough? And I was with the friend the other day, different friend, driving by at an apartment complex, a nice one in an expensive part of town. And I pointed and I said, those were the condominiums that I used to clean. I used to scrub toilets because I lost everything. I had nothing. And this was a way to make cash. I'm so grateful that people would hire me, Carlos. But I remember I was dusting the top of a dresser. And again, like half the time the television would be on in these homes where I'm cleaning and they're not necessarily that nice to me. And I'm watching myself on television with my hair up in a bun and a bandana, and they don't know that it's me. And I'm cleaning this thing, and something just snapped inside of me, my quantum leap, my energy. And I just thought, I'm done, not with cleaning, not with the job, but like I'm done with the way people are treating me. I'm done with my life being like this. And something clicked and something snapped. So you're a young kid, you're selling bread, you're bringing the money back, you're getting robbed by people half the time. They're looking to see that your bread basket is empty and they're going to hurt you. Like, how old were you and when did things snap? When did your energy shift where you're like, I don't want this anymore, I got to get out of here? I don't know that part of your story.
Oh, my friend, the bread story, man, it starts at 7 years old. 7 years old selling their bread. I remember the day, Goldie, negotiating with my mom in the kitchen to let me sell that bread. I was like 6.5 when I started negotiating with her. And I'm a pretty big boy, and I'm 6'5", 350 pounds right now. So I've always been big since I was a kid. And I remember negotiating with her. It took me a few months of negotiation. I said, Mom, let me sell the bread because we want to get out of the hood. And it took us a long time, Goldie, from selling bread from age 7 to 18. 11 years.
Okay, I didn't know that. You didn't touch
that. Bread, 11 years selling that bread, doing side works. In my book, I talk a little bit about some of those side works, like, doing some collection. One time, right? I went to do a collection.
A collection? Okay, that's what they call it these days.
Yeah, I would do collections. My uncles, they would sell meat and stuff, right? So I would have to go to the butcher, collect the money for the meat. And then the butcher didn't pay. First time I go, I don't have the money. Tell your uncle to, I'll come back later. I'm like, oh, okay, man, I'm gonna go back. And my uncle now, my uncle's like old school. He looked like, Gianni was here earlier, the Godfather. So my uncles are like big, they look like the Godfathers. And then I say, hey, uncle, no moolah, brother. He doesn't want to pay. He say, what the heck? Go back there and go get the money. I'm like, okay, I'll go back tomorrow. I go back tomorrow, Goldie. Here we go. My little chubby ass walking in there. Hey, butcher, what is it, moolah? He's like, no moolah, get the heck out of here. I'm like, what the heck? What am I going to tell my uncle? Screw you and your uncle. I was like, oh, shit. Here we go. I drag my ass back to go talk to my uncle. He said, bring something with you. Go over there and pressure him. I was like, dang it. Okay. So I bring a baseball bat.
How old are you?
I'm 13. And then, okay, Brazil, you guys hear the stories? There are kids like 11, and they are criminals. They shoot and they kill people. Like, it's crazy down there. It's total evil. So thank God I did not go that route. So I walk in there. Guys, never use violence to combat violence. But, my uncles are bigger than me. They're big, fat dudes, And then I walk in there, Goldie, with a baseball bat. And the butcher pulls a gun on me. I was like, oh, shit. And now, kid, get the heck out of here. No feria, no moolah. I was like, Jesus, what am I going to tell my uncle? You better get the heck out of here before I shoot you. And then, so what I learned from that a knife for a knife only does one thing. It makes the whole world blind. And never go into a gun battle with a freaking bat. But, it's like, I remember the crazy shit that we had to do, Goldie, just to it's like I ask people all the time, how bad do you want? What do you want? How long are you willing to go and making 50 cents a day, selling your little bread, doing the collections, doing the work that you are doing right now? Let's say you guys are an author, you are a coach, you are a speaker, you are into network marketing, you are a whatever you do, right? How long are you willing to go without a paycheck? How long are you willing to go with a very tiny, small paycheck that even if you would have to downgrade, right? Let's say, for example, a lot of people had to sell their houses and lost their houses. If you had to downgrade into renting a room or sharing a studio with 3 or 4 other families, I've been there, a lot of immigrants, they do that. And a lot of Americans, they saw themselves in those situations this past year, have to move in, multiple families together to pay the bills because it was hard for everybody. But how long are you willing to go? It's like we have to remind ourselves that it's going to be times in our life that we're going to have to make sacrifice to draw a line in the sand. and just say enough is enough. You know, just like myself, right? Father died in a car explosion. My stepfather was murdered. You know, I was tortured and abused as a child. So whenever I'm talking to my clients that I do a lot of consulting around the world, and they start telling their problems, I get my phone. I don't know my card is, but picture me having a yellow card in my hand, and I'll go, yeah, that's a whistle. And it's not fake. It's a real whistle. And I go, wait a minute. I'm like, hold up. I'm about to call a viuva negra. I'm calling the Black Widow. That's what they call my mother, the Black Widow. They joke with my mother and I when I was a kid. I used to cry when I was a kid, and then got to a point where my mom say, no, so we have to reframe it. We have to, she should tell me this thing, Goldie. And I know that somebody right here, right now, listening to us needed to hear this, because you might have been going through something difficult, and I feel you. I know how it feels like being in a dark room, not knowing that where you're going to find food tomorrow, not having anybody. And I remember these words from my mom. My mom and my grandmother, there's also my mom, both of them used to tell me that all the time. É melhor sorrir do que chorar. It's better to laugh instead of crying. And Goldie, those words, I started reframing things from a very, very young age. In addition to some whispers that some of you guys heard my story that I heard from God before I stabbed myself at age 6.5. Due to all the evilness, the things that I used to focus on. Because you know the drill, right? Whatever you focus on, you're going to attract. If you focus on lack, if you're focusing on not having money, if you're focusing on, oh, your ex cheated on you, nobody's answering the phone, nobody's calling you back to support you in your business, nobody's buying your book, nobody's buying your course, nobody's buying your song, nobody's buying your movie, nobody's, going to your YouTube channel or hitting the like button. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If that's what we focus on, that is the shit that we will attract. When I was a little kid, everything around me was evil, so that's what I focused on. I was focused on behind closed doors. Bah, bah, bah. My mom's being abused, both of them. There's this stuff, when I go outside on the streets, evil stuff, evil news. Somebody got decapitated. Somebody died, somebody got murdered, somebody's this, nothing but evil and negative news all day long. So what do you think it was the shit in my mind as a little kid? I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't have a father, I didn't have nobody. I wanted to help them and I couldn't. I was a little kid. I was poor, I was broken inside and outside. So I was about to stab myself. I wrote that letter. You guys here probably wrote that stupid letter. And right before I did, I remember being in the dark kitchen. I get the chills when I think about this shit. I remember, Goldie. I look at that knife, and right before, sister, I heard the whispers. The whispers from God, man. You guys want to know what he said? Son, somebody has worse out there. But let me tell you something. Your future doesn't have to equal your past unless you carry on the stories with you. Let that sink in for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people out there, they're talking about they have those dreams. They want to make an impact, but it's nothing but words, because the words doesn't match their actions. That they have decided to take massive actions and draw a line in the freaking sand. And I say no more. I'm going to drop this freaking knife, and I'm going to help save millions and millions of lives. So all the kids that don't have a mom and dad, all the kids that are being abused 7 days a week. At least I was only being abused 5 days a week. All the kids that didn't have the food. I have the rice for a few months at a time. Some of them died because they didn't have the rice. I mastered reframing at a very, very long time. And I started reading, Goldie, reading every single day. I told myself, I'm going to outdo every single person on my way. Whatever I need to do, if I'm going to be a person that sells bread, I'll become a masterpiece. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You watching me here now, you are a masterpiece. Because you are a piece of the master. Come on, brother Carlos. Give it to them, baby. Bring it on a Saturday. We're going to church on a Saturday night. Come on now. But you feel me? I told myself I'm going to become the #1 master bread seller in the planet, the #1 collector, the #1 speaker, the #1 consultant, whatever God wanted me to do to serve others and help this planet a little bit better, live just a little bit better than what I came into. I was going to give and go all in, Goldie. And what I focused was doing things that were different, Goldie. You guys listen to me right now at home. I want you guys to think about, you gotta do what other people don't do, can't do, and will not think of doing. I want you guys right now, draw a line, get a piece of paper. I want you guys to do this. Draw a piece of paper. And in the middle, you're gonna write the word on the left, capture, and on the right, you're gonna write the word execute. So you're gonna draw a piece of paper and you're gonna write it down. Capture on the left. Remember, like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, come here. So then you're gonna write capture. So whenever I say something cool or stupid, I want you guys to write it down underneath capture. On the right side, who here needs some accountability? You're gonna write execute. So whenever I say something cool that can help you grow your business or your brand or your mind, whatever is that you need, you're going to execute. You're going to ask yourself, how can I execute this strategy that Goldie or Carlos or the previous amazing people that spoke here prior to me and that will speak after me will teach you guys. So you're going to capture the words. You don't have to write the word for it. Just write one keyword on the left. And then on the side, you're going to write, how can you going to execute starting tomorrow? And I will tell them this one formula, Goldie, I call the MCE. And I start with the end in mind. With the E starts for entertainment. I want you guys to think about, is your brand entertaining or boring, right? When they are scrolling down on their cell phone, I guarantee you, when they see Goldie, they see my big fat ass, we are creating those goddamn moments. Are you guys creating goddamn moments? I want you guys to think about it. Be honest with yourself, because you have to ask yourself, is my brand entertaining or boring? You gotta be different. You gotta do what nobody else does. And you gotta do stuff that's uncomfortable, like every single day, right? You gotta put yourself into an uncomfortable situation consciously. Like literally, you just gotta, it's gonna be like, oh shit, I gotta go live. I gotta be interviewed by Goldie. Carlos wants to interview me. Gold wants to interview me. I gotta speak on a stage. Oh my God, I gotta call somebody right now to talk about my business. Yep. Every day, you're going to consciously put yourself into that situation. Goldie, did I ever told you the first time that I had to sell bread, I was peeing on my pants. I had to sell bread for the first time, and I'm downtown, and I have all these kids selling the shit, right? So I got my little bread over here with the coconut. They got the empanadas. It has the meat inside. The other one has the ham and the cheese, the banana, So I'm going against like hella kids trying to do what I'm doing. Sell shit to bring it back home, the moolah for their parents. But who here, right in that moment, before ask for the money, you go like, oh, hell no, I ain't doing that. I was freaking out. I was a little boy, 7 years old, and I have to go sell it. And I was worried. I was sweating. I was like, oh, hell, I cannot do this. And you guys who here, you have the little voice, so you cannot do it. You cannot do it. But you know what I say, Goldie? Hold on. What's one of my signs?
Uh-oh. Here we go. Here it comes.
I'll try not to cuss, but I'll go, stop giving a F what other people think of you. And I literally stopped giving a damn what people would think of me. So I went for it, and I literally did what I had to do, which guess what I did? I need to grab their attention. What are you guys doing to grab their attention from stop scrolling? You guys have 3 seconds. 3 seconds or it's done. Then we'll keep scrolling down. If you're not capturing them, it's over. So then guess what I did? I started blowing the whistle. Bread, I got the best bread in town. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care if your spouse, say something mean to you or your boss is a prick. You're going to feel irresistible. You're going to feel indispensable. You're going to feel indestructible. You're going to feel ready to mingle, and it's about to go down in Chinatown, And I would do silly stuff, right? Now they would look at me, this fat little boy from the jungle, and they will stop. They will laugh. They'll be like, what the heck is he doing? And they will come and grab the bread. And then when they eat the bread, I was like, okay, how can I add some value, which is the C, right? Remember my formula? M-C-E. E, entertaining. Boom, I stop. C, consistently add more value to others than anybody else in my surroundings at any industry that I am working on or I am consulting for. So then I would ask my mind, my creative mind, how can I now take it to another level, Goldie, as they are eating the bread? Then, as they were eating the bread, I say, imagine. I want you guys to imagine being right there with me right now. Remember, I like to imagine stuff, right? So you're going to imagine me, 7 years old, fat little chubby boy, sold you some bread, and I'm telling you, now imagine being in Disneyland, looking at a beautiful princess that looked like Goldie. And now you are there in your favorite park at Disneyland, and now your favorite character is there with you as you are eating the bread with your eyes closed, and that character is going to say, and he's gonna and I will imitate it. I will do voices to entertain my clients eating the bread, and then you laugh their ass off, Goldie. So now I'm creating an experience. It's different. It's exciting. It's nobody else selling shit around me will get that creative. And I want you guys to start thinking different. And what are you doing right now with your brand? And I have been behind hundreds of niches. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you sell, what you do. You have to ask yourself those questions, and you have to plan it, because what does the M stands for? The final piece of the MC. You got to master sales and marketing, which are your twin tickets to freedom. You must just start planning your content 30 days ahead of time, and then you start thinking about the things that I've been talking about here. Being different, doing what other people don't and won't. And whenever, let's say, for example, Goldie, somebody is in a niche, let's say, for example, health coach. So now you think about, okay, the top 5 health coaches in your state, in your country. Go on Amazon, look if they have a book, and look at their top 5-star reviews and their worst 1-star reviews. Now, based on those reviews, you're going to read it. And when somebody makes a review, they are in a peak emotional state, whether it's good or bad. So out of that review, you have so much data that you can take and apply in your business. Because now let's say you're a health coach and you're like, oh, this guy sucks. I try, his spills and, I end up, now I'm more fat. I try his recipes. Now I'm fatter. So now, next time you're going to grab your phone right now and you're going to pick top 3 views in your city, the views that people go the most. So you're going to pick the beautiful view in the back. And then you saw Goldie when she did her video for her movie, she picked some nice views in the background. Goldie's a pro. She picks the good views. So now when you go look at that, you're going to go, have you ever, see, when you say the word have you ever, automatically the mind cannot stop but to stop and think. So you go, have you ever tried a stupid pill to lose weight because you feel fat and it didn't work and you became fatter? You are talking like you're talking to your friend, and then have you ever tried a recipe and you actually got fatter instead of losing the weight? Have you ever tried to hire a coach and you end up being worse than what you are? Have you ever tried using a relationship coach and now you are divorced? Have you ever got blah, blah, you know what I mean? So now you're using the word have you ever, and you pick the bad review from that person on your industry that you are competing against, and you're using that on your conversations on social media, and you start asking those questions. And as people are engaging with you, my friends watching us at home, you now write to them and say, hey, let's say if you guys are new or you are struggling or whatever, you say, hey, I would love to interview you on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn, on my Facebook. I start interviewing people every day or once a week, twice a week at 5 p.m. Then I would love to interview you at 5 p.m. so we could have a conversation and use that information about your brand. So now you are showing the world your superpowers in actual real time, that you are now interviewing them, which is brilliant because now you can take that information, marketing, repurpose that into different things. And you also create an experience as you are building your brand. But you see, it's about doing things that nobody else wants to do or is willing to do. You know what I mean? Like being different. But I talk too much.
Absolutely not, Carlos. You don't talk too much. You and I, we've spent so much time discussing these philosophies, both offline and online. And, Carlos is such a unique individual, and he's a man that practices what he preaches. And Carlos, I know you're going to appreciate our next speaker because much like you, this is a person that has gone out into the trenches and made a difference. I'm so excited to have our next speaker join us. And Carlos, I want to personally thank you again for taking time and being here with us. Carlos has a lot of exciting things in the works with the Los Angeles Tribune and with our strategic partnership moving forward. And we are, going to make the public privy of a lot of big things very soon that you and the team at the LA Tribune is up to. And before we get into that, though, I am going to let you take a few more minutes with Goldie to discuss and finish off your points. But I just wanted to briefly chime in and say that there's a lot of exciting things between Carlos and the LA Tribune in the works. And with that, Goldie, please continue conversation with Carlos.
Carlos, I just wanted to say you added "Have you ever?" and you gave some really great things for people with their brands and strategies and marketing. But my brain is going back to the woman that did the banner saying, "Oh my God, that sounds like me. I'm cleaning now." And it's like, maybe cleaning was not what she did before the pandemic. Maybe that's what she's doing now. Maybe there are people right now that are doing things that aren't able to have somebody stop on their scroll because they're out hustling to feed their families right now. And really briefly, I want to go back to when I lost my television deal, record deal, publishing deal. I had nothing. I had a lady of the evening in the low income housing that I was squatting in, basically say, I know who you are. And by the way, I've got this cleaning job I can't do on Thanksgiving. Do you want to do it? And I remember that because I said, well, if it's cash, I'll take it. And it was. But I remember that job because it was very pivotal. And this applies to the woman that's cleaning right now, or to the people that are doing jobs maybe in the service industry that they weren't doing last year. Like, you can't feel, I went to that job feeling grateful and feeling appreciative that I had an opportunity to make, I think it was $200 that day cash, which is a lot with no bank account, no credit card. I'm going bankrupt. And I remember the people left. It was at a chateau out somewhere in the wilderness in Tennessee. Well, they left and I had already finished cleaning the house. So I went down the basement, but there were all of these boxes in the basement. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Well, I opened them. You know what they were? They were on what do you call it? When you put something together. Oh God, my brain goes nuts sometimes. I speak too many languages. Unassembled. Thank you. It was unassembled furniture. And I just thought, well, shit. Tried to text them, tried to call them, no service. Do they want me to put together I just took a stab. I found a toolbox, a couple Allen wrenches, a couple of screwdrivers, a Phillips, a standard, and I put all the shit together and I brought it up the stairs and the people came home that hired me and I was like, I was either going to sink or well, the guy just looked at me and he just said, "Who are you? Who are you?" And I just was like, I lied. I said, "My name was Kate. I'm Kate the cleaner." And he just said, No, Sister Kate, who are you? And my point is I was grateful. I was thankful, but I did something nobody else would do. I took a chance. I tried to shine. I tried to show them I have value. And from that day led not only assembling their furniture at all of the different places that they home staged, but I spoke like the woman that said she's cleaning now. Let people know you might be just cleaning right now, or you might be just laying brick or working, flipping burgers or whatever you might be doing. You have to be vocal and don't feel oppressed, and let people know what your other talents are or what your true passion is or your dreams, because you might be talking to somebody that hired you or somebody with an earshot that has the capability or needs what you have. So you can't feel oppressed. You can't be poor me, feel sorry for yourself, but be proud, be grateful, be thankful, and speak of what else that you do, that it's so important. Like you're saying, this kid doing impressions and jumping around like a freak, selling his bread. Well, the competition just dwindled because you were making yourself different and irreplaceable. So no matter how oppressed you feel right now, whatever you're doing, make sure to shine in that situation and let people know what it is that you really want. That's so important to speak it into existence.
Amen, sister. Amen. And you know what, Goldie? It's like a lot of people out there, right? They work a 9 to 5.
Hello.
They put so much effort on their 9 to 5. And what I always tell people is that if you put the same exact effort that you put a 9 to 5 in starting a side job, and it's okay to transition to doing something new. For example, for years, I've been like a consulting, inspirational speaker. That was my brand was built around there. But this past year, I was like, I saw a lot of people out there suffering, like a lot of people losing their business, all their speakers, the authors, the consultants, people that sell their courses, they were hurting. These people were hurting. They had no more income. A lot of people in Hollywood, right? A lot of our friends in the music industry, in the filming industry, artists, they all lost their jobs. So I was like, how can I help all my friends and my followers that have been following me for years? They are in the industry. And I was like, I'm going to start teaching them something that I always kept a secret, because I don't want people to know, oh, Carlos, I've been in crypto for all these years. It's a lot of money to be made in that field if you are following the right influencers. So then I start talking about it. And it's funny how I start having a lot of people, some of my influencer friends reaching out. What are you doing? You're talking about crypto now? I'm like, no. I still do what I'm doing it. I'm helping the everyday people and telling them, look, you can start from zero with no money and be a person of value to the right projects and get known by those billionaires that are running.
Absolutely. And Carlos,
you know what I mean? And it's so many opportunities like that, Mo. So many opportunities.
So many. And folks, we are going to bring Carlos next edition of Monday Night Live so we can go into the nitty gritty. I want to thank you, Carlos, for generously spending your time with us today. As always, you do such a great job of breaking things down. And folks, this is the Quantum Leap Forum. And here we only bring the best of the best, or cream of the crop, and people that have actually gone into the trenches and made a difference. Of course, earlier you saw us speak with David Meltzer and Sharon Lechter. You saw us speak with Dr. Joe Vitale. You saw us speak with one of the actors from the film The Godfather, Gianni Russo. You saw us speak to even Kato Kalin from the O.J. Simpson case, who had so much value that he could offer. And so many other incredible names, whether it's Matthew Lesko, who was one of the infomercial kings of the 1990s, who spent some time with us. And speaking of infomercials, our next guest is going to be somebody that I know you don't want to miss. So grab a pen, grab a paper, make sure you focus, make sure you take notes, because every single time that I've ever heard her speak, I have learned something. Every single time that I have ever heard her speak, I have gained value. Of course, I'm talking about my dear friend, the lovely, the legendary, the one and only Miss Forbes Riley. Welcome to the LA Tribune Quantum Leap. How are you doing?
Very good. Come on, Carlos. You know you am.
You get the whistle, sister.
Amazing. There we go. Come on, guys. Let's give you this overview.
Miss Riley in the
house. How you guys doing?
Doing wonderful. Doing wonderful. So, Brother Carlos, I will see you on the flip side, my man. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos.
And Forbes Riley, welcome. So many people are excited about this moment. Look at this. The virtual auditorium is going nuts. Oh my God. Forbes Riley. Look at this. She's here. She's live with us.
She's been Clubhouse all day. Let me tell you something.
You and me both, Forbes. I don't know if we made a mistake by downloading that app or if it was a good thing to do. I don't know, but I know I need to detox for a little bit. It's fun, but it is a little addicting.
Changed my entire life.
Well, you knew how to see the opportunity and you took it, and you've been killing it. I've been watching you do it. So more power to you, my dear. And, welcome, Forbes. I'm so excited to spend some time with you. You always are so generous with your time and the value you provide for us. And, we're going to get into the nitty gritty. And, let's start with Clubhouse, right? Let's just go there because you brought it up.
Thanks,
you said it changed your life.
Yep.
In what way?
Well, let's see. So tomorrow I am the headliner next to Deepak Chopra, Les Brown, Jack Canfield, and Damon John. I'm the only chick on the headline. I'd say that came out of Clubhouse. That was kind of cool, right?
That's really
absolutely
cool. It's like one of 10 things that have come out of Clubhouse lately. The other thing that came out is I've connected with a lot of my old friends. I mean, it's been a kind of a crazy year for all of us. Me more than most. Why do I say that? It's because Miss Sally Green. It is because my fiance was in a car accident January 2nd. He was on his bike, his motorcycle. And if you go to Instagram, Mo, all present company excluded, he's the most handsome man on the planet, super fit, right? Flat on his back, surgery, and 6 months in a wheelchair. So last year was a very quiet year for us. I don't have any family. So it was I watched a lot of Netflix and hung out with a very upset human being. And so the ability to talk and share and get all these thoughts out. And I'm at an age and a point in my life where all the pain and stuff that I've been through makes for one hell of a great story.
Absolutely. And you know, Forbes, something that is incredible about you is you live life on your own terms, in your own way. You create a life that makes sense for you. You really don't care about socialized mind. You are Forbes Riley. And that's a reason I have a lot of respect for you, is because you are just yourself. And you're passionate about living your own life. And the common theme of today, I'm sure you're familiar with Matthew Lesko, right?
Very well. Yep.
Matthew Lesko, I talked to him a couple hours ago. He was here, and he's, you know, in a way, I'm sure you can relate to him because he just lives his own life, right? Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you're not wearing a question mark suit, but you live life on your own terms.
That's my pajamas. I have that in the bedroom.
There we go, in the bedroom. Okay. But, you know, and that's been the common theme. So I want to talk about that with you, Forbes, is living.
Well, really simple. Look at Matthew. He's a social outcast, and so am I. I got to tell you something. It started from a very early age. Living life on my own terms was not by design. I didn't fit in anywhere. And I look like I do now, but I didn't back then. I was a goofy, ugly little kid with frizzy hair, braces for 8 years, a weird broken nose. I was overweight. And I've come to understand that I was weirdly smart. Okay, you know what weirdly smart makes you? Weirdly lonely. I mean, in second grade, I didn't have friends. I've put all this together because I didn't really understand the fabric of who I was or why I lived my life the way I did. And now I do. You know, you're not in the principal's office in second grade at 7 years old doing linguistics with the principal. And by the time you're in fourth grade at 8 years old, you've built your own computer. Yeah, and I'm actually standing there explaining this schematic that my dad and I built with solenoids and a magnetic thing in my ring so that I can turn the magnetic relays on so there's no buttons. It's mind-blowing that some 8-year-old girl would want to be doing any of this. But the other side of that is I didn't have any friends. I actually actually talk to my parents all the time going, I don't get girls. There's nothing to talk about. They're stupid. They're talking about boys and that. I don't know what they're talking about. And when my daughter was about 10 years ago, she was about 8 years old, she's like, so Mom, what were sleepovers like? And I'm like, I have no idea. I just don't. And that's okay because I knew that I was odd, but I thought it was because I was ugly. And it's kind of weird. So I graduated high school a year early. I skipped 2 years of college. I graduated 2 degrees with 3 years. I know. It really kind of goes, well, maybe you really were. And I used to tell people a lie. I used to tell people that I wasn't really that smart, but that my dad, who hadn't gone to college, used to make us do all these long division things and memorization games at the dining room table. And so by the time I got to first grade, I could do long division and speak 2 languages. And so I got put in this genius class. And I kept telling people, I'm not really that smart. I just didn't want to embarrass my dad. So I worked really hard. Well, I worked really hard that like I said, I graduated 2 degrees in 3 years from college because I was so used to working. Gave me a great work ethic. But I remember after I started my very first feature film, I took a backpack and a Walkman and I went to Europe for 6 months on my own. I didn't even, my mom was like, who are you going with? I'm like, why would I take somebody? Now, I don't know many other people that would even think that way. But to me, there was no other choice. It was like, I'm fine. I got, you know, and by the way, Walkman means I had 2 cassettes. That's all I had. Barry Manilow and Burt Bacharach. It was like ridiculous. Can you imagine that now?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to admit I had a Barry Manilow tape, Forbes.
No, it was actually Burt Bacharach, and it was these really romantic songs. It wasn't Barry because I didn't really like him. I don't. Who knows? The other one could have been the Partridge Family. That's how.
That's okay.
But I had a goofy sensibility. But here's some things that I've discovered that I had that most people don't. I have the ability to dream bigger than almost anyone I've ever met. Elon Musk aside, Spielberg, a couple of people, but I actually dream things all the time. I wanted to be James Bond. That's what I wanted to be when I was little. Now I tell people to say, what do you want? I wanted to be James Bond. Now that's such a reality for me that not only did I snow ski and water ski and scuba dive all around the world on literally with no money. I figured out how to, I don't think con the right word is, but I used to do singing and stripping telegrams in New York, and I used to con people all the time. I know. So, I mean, yeah, I have and I'm doing movies and I'm doing television. And I pretty much said to my mom, I was 20 years old, and I said, Mom, I have this vision that when I'm 83, I'm sitting around telling the most magnificent story of my life to my kids, grandkids, and other kids. And then I said, I got to go write that story. And that's always been the impetus behind all the crazy stuff that I've done. And it's not a joke. I started the ESPN's X Games with Stuart Scott. I introduced Kim Kardashian to television. You can actually go to YouTube and see everything that I'm telling you is on videotape. I videoed every single thing I did. And now you're like, you started Billy Blanks and Tybo. I'm like, yeah, that's on my talk show. Who does all of these things? I'm about to shoot my 193rd infomercial next week for a fitness product. Now that doesn't blow your mind. I'm like, yeah, how old I am? For a fitness product, that's pretty damn good. And then, so I really did set out to write this story. The funny thing was there was no social media, so none of you were watching. You know, there was a moment in my life, and I used to do stand-up comedy at ski resorts for Jose Cuervo Tequila. I mean, I'll just try and process some of the ridiculousness of what I'm saying. When I wasn't hosting Club Meds around the world, I had a carte blanche ticket to go anywhere I wanted for Club Med. I know, really? I know. So it's fascinating to go, that's a very eclectic kind of way that you are. And it kind of lost my train of thought, but it was, it's just, anyway, it's been a very interesting life. Oh, there was no social media. So I remember thinking, sometime into this, I was already in my 30s, and I'd already done some crazy shit. Like for 7 minutes, I stopped Wall Street. Now you're gonna have to find out that in a movie. I'm not talking about that story anymore, because it's like, I just took it for granted. There's a Newsweek photograph of that happening. And it's like, yeah, let me tell you a story that you guys have never heard, because there was no social media. And I thought at some point, you know, when you die, no one's coming to the funeral. No one even knows who you are. Nobody cares. And you've done all these magnificently crazy things. And then Facebook came out, and all of a sudden I found out that I have friends and fans, and life got a little different because people were noticing. And Clubhouse is absolutely the epitome of that, because see this, I don't have to put on makeup, but I'm a pretty good talker.
You are a phenomenal talker, and you're absolutely right. I mean, Clubhouse has definitely taken off the last couple months, and I think I was there with you literally the first or second room that you came in. I don't know if you remember. And then I saw you just see, you know, Forbes, what I love about you and the way that you think is when you see an opening, you go for it. You're like a quarterback, right? When you read the right play, if you see that there's a tight end open on the left-hand side, you're going to throw, it's going to be caught, and it's going to be a touchdown. You know, Forbes Riley is like the quintessential quarterback. And just noticing your work and how you maneuver, I see that you're a very strategic person with regard to the best way for you to provide value to people. And I appreciate that as a strategist. And so I'm excited to see what you continue to do on Clubhouse besides gain like 19 million followers, which is going to happen very soon. And with that being said, you know, when I did talk to Matthew, and because I consider you, and I'm going to segue a little bit back to that, because I consider you to also be an infomercial king. You know, when I think of some of the greats, I think of Forbes Riley, you know, I think of Don Dupree, Kevin Trudeau, Matthew Lesko, these kind of guys that.
Goldie, what you need to hear is he's going to think of a whole group of men, but there are no women he thinks of at all besides me, is there?
I'm still back thinking with you saying that you weren't pretty. Like the first time you came into this, I was like, what a beautiful, stunning woman. Then we've all seen your hot guy, like whatever. Obviously, whatever. He's hot. And I just don't, I guess I don't understand. I can't, maybe the point that I'm making is whatever you were yesterday, to the people that are listening and watching, whatever you were doesn't mean that needs to be who you are today, because I don't know. Amberly came on earlier, and I saw her podcast with you, Mo, and I'm like, who's this gorgeous woman? Like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, basking and like, I wish I looked like her. And then she gets on and says, you know, I'm injured and I don't always feel great about myself and all this. And I'm looking at Forbes just thinking like, what a beautifully stunning woman. And just because maybe you didn't look the greatest when you were younger, not you people listening, doesn't mean you can't.
Can you guys see this screen?
Yeah, I'll put it on.
What do you, which side do you see? Do you see that picture? Do you see the little girl?
Yeah.
It's being broadcast.
But actually,
that is me.
I don't think that's, I think you're still pretty, honey.
Well, not in that picture, but then I got my nose fixed. It was kind of a weird story, but my dad had a horrible accident and I needed some money to go to college. And so his doctor actually offered to fix my nose, and the braces came off and the nose got fixed. And all of a sudden I went from being an ugly, overweight girl, literally that transition. This doesn't look, And then there's my mom, who was 260 pounds my whole life. And this was the first time I ever got to dream, because my dad, we had no money for college. He spent 3 years in the hospital. And I definitely was the apple of her eye, but I did get pretty. It's a weird, and I know that. Something actually changed. And I ended up going and winning this competition with a hand-me-down dress. But that's the moment that I won the Miss Teenage New York pageant.
God love you.
All those dreams. That's 16 years of, you got to be kidding me. And I ended up on TV with Bob Hope, and there I am looking pretty pudgy, but kind of cute. I know it changed.
You're beautiful, honey.
Well, and I appreciate that. I feel that I've certainly done a lot in my time.
Jesus.
I could go on and on. But actually, have you ever seen this, Mo?
No, I'd love to see it. Let's play it.
Right, so this is how before infomercials, before QVC, I had the very first job. This was it.
Total convenience, 24 hours a day. Now get ready for the latest in sports, fashion, and exercise gear on Fitness Plus. Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and today we've got a great product for you. Take a look at this. Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and backed by popular demand, the best way to develop rock-hard abdominals. Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and welcome to Fitness Plus. Now, if you want to burn calories and tune your whole body, all in the comfort and privacy of your own home. So I'm feeling my thighs work. I love this.
The pads close against the flywheel.
Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and welcome to Fitness Plus. Today, we're introducing you to the most diversified, balanced, and perfectly designed workout for the 90s. Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and joining me to explain how you can have gorgeous, more youthful-looking skin is Facial Magic's creator and international beauty consultant, Cynthia Rowland.
Those were the first. So I worked with Body by Jake. We owned a 24-hour network on cable television that we sold to Fox for $500 million in 1994.
Wow.
I sold 1,500 fitness and wellness products. I wrote the pitches and delivered the pitches for all of them. And that's how this started. I know you have a thing for infomercials, but that would be me and the amazing Jack LaLanne, who had done a couple of juicer shows before this, but I got to tell you, this one grossed $1 billion. I know, that's crazy. And you saw this on TV. We all did. It was there forever.
Every night.
A2 to find
Every
out
night.
how you can save 50% off the original Power Juicer. Let's get ready to juice.
I want to bring out two very special guests. He's been changing lives of millions of people around the world. And as a reward, on his 88th birthday, he received his very own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The lovely lady joining him is a best-selling author in her own right, and she's been the love of his life for over 50 years. It is my pleasure to introduce to you a couple of living, breathing testimonials to the wonders of juicing, Elaine and Jack LaLanne. Jack,
How are you?
How are you, Elaine?
I want to hug too.
Oh, absolutely. Look at you guys.
And that played 400 times a week.
How many?
Up to 400 times a week. It was on the air for 8 years in 80 countries.
I remember.
Yeah, I know.
Forbes was so good. I bought a juicer, and I hate juice.
There you go. And so I got from that girl to that girl.
What do you mean by pitch got me here? What pitch? What do you mean pitch for us watching, listening?
Your pitch is everything. Your pitch is how you communicate to the world. Pitching is a skill that if you want to go to your favorite restaurant or you want to close a $10 million deal, you have to learn how to pitch. So,
If you want to date a woman, you have to know how to pitch. If you want to get a job, you have to know how to pitch. It's true. We're always pitching. Every single moment of our lives, we're pitching, whether we realize it or not.
Now, what you don't want to do, Goldie, is ever sound like you're pitching. And so to me, what pitching means to me, excite, engage, and enroll someone into what you're doing. And so he's right. If you want someone to marry you, someone to go out with you, you basically pitch them. You have a point of view about who you are. You relate to them or you don't. You give them what they want, and ultimately you get what you want. And that's what pitching is. It's not the used car salesman that most people think. And I actually teach what I think are pretty amazing techniques to get you to get whatever you want. Yeah, sound good? So Goldie's like, oh, I thought pitching was something else, didn't you? Yeah,
No,
you're not.
No, I saw when you said pitch, like because you learned how to do the ultimate pitch, you got hot, or you got happy, or you felt whole.
Basically, Goldie, developing the art of influence is what changed her life.
And so, Goldie, it's all of those things. It is how I got jobs. It is how I got all kind of things, because I understand. It's how I got 192 infomercials. There's something about enrolling people when you're talking to them. Most people just talk. There's a big difference between talking and communicating. My dad was a magician, and I'm a big fan of getting what you want. I'm also a big fan of the fact that magicians are some of the coolest people in the room because you know how the trick's going to end. It's kind of sneaky, but it goes back to my James Bond thing. So watch this. So let's see. And it is about influence, because I'm going to have a blank piece of paper here, and so Goldie, if I told you that I went to a business conference last week, right? And while I was there over the weekend, I lost 6.5 pounds. Crazy, right? You think, what's the first thing you want to ask me?
What did you do?
Right. What did you do, or how did you do it? So now I know that, right? Well, how did I guess what you're going to say? So watch this. I could do this all day long because I know what you're going to say. Because when you're pitching, I'm not pretending to hope you're going to say this. If I asked you, Miss Goldie, do you want to see something cool? What are you going to say?
Sure. Yes.
Yes. You're totally going to say yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that is what pitching is. I made an assumption about you. I kind of get the vibe. I asked the right question, and then you can make a sale because I already know what you're thinking. How did you do that? Well, that is why I've sold $2.5 billion worth of product.
So you would say something about chicks and hot tubs, and you would direct it to Mo. I'm just kidding.
Hey, if you want Mo to come out on a Friday night, friend, you know what? I've got something to. Yeah. Even more interesting. So,
guys, the show is late, but it's not that late. No, but this is an awesome conversation, Forbes, because, one thing that I think is there's a lot of people that call themselves influencers. There's a lot of people that call themselves a whole lot of different names, okay? And quite frankly, there's a lot of noise out there. I don't like to associate myself with people just making noise. I associate with people like you that are really about practicing what they preach, that have paid their dues, that have actually gone into the trenches. I mean, from the 1990s to now, you have been out there in the trenches, making things happen, grinding, building your empire. You're really practicing what you're preaching, and you have showcased something very valuable: longevity. And that's rare in this business. How many people have we seen, Forbes, come, make a couple bucks, and disappear? A lot. But it takes a certain skill set to last this long and to maintain a good reputation. It says a lot about you.
It is kind of funny. And I've got two beautiful 18-year-olds who I'm very proud of the fact that I raised great kids. And I think I'm here, and I said this a long time ago, but it didn't matter. But now that word longevity gives you a sense of, people want to call me the queen of the pitch or queen of infomercials. I'm like, I'm not the queen, I'm a princess. And all of a sudden I crossed over and I'm 60 years old. I said, you know what? Screw it. I am the queen. I'm the queen. And it's a different feeling. It's a feeling of, I've got things to share. And I've got things that you need to know if you want to move forward in your life. And I'm not kidding about some of that. One, I have people like writing books and doing things like, what would Forbes do? I often think about what would Forbes do. Forbes doesn't back down. She goes for what's right, never hurts anybody, but stands up for the underdog. I always have. And that's gotten me in trouble. It's been fun. And I'm also a survivor of massive tragedy. So I would venture to say that I could go, it's we kind of joke around. You've seen what Joshua looks like. I venture to say out of 7 billion people, there's maybe 100 that look like that person, right? I'm not kidding. That's not an exaggeration. You can look around all around the world.
You're so funny, girl.
Okay. So while that's really cool, I will bet you out of 7 billion people that I've seen some of the worst tragedies up close. That puts me sadly in the 1%. 1% is when you've had a young boy that you've raised for 12 years of his life, from 8 until 20, he got murdered right before he came to see us that night. He was best man at my wedding. He was shot 10 times in the back and left for dead on a Sunday afternoon. I was also the eyewitness, along with Joshua, to the shooting in October 1st in Las Vegas. Joshua and I had walked out a minute and a half before it all happened. We were with Grant Cardone and James Malinchek and some other people, Kevin Harrington, having a wonderful time at the Foundation Room in Mandalay Bay. Took a picture. The next thing you know, I'm videotaping the worst shooting in this entire country. Really? Why would you have a front seat to that? Why did my brother-in-law, who is the only survivor, he had a firehouse 1/4 mile north of the World Trade Center. He's the only survivor, and I have a ticket on Flight United 93 that I didn't get on after my parents both passed away. And you got to look at that life because it's very poetic. You're like, damn, girl, that's some serious shit you've been through. How are you still here? And I figured out some philosophies that, one, life happens for you, not to you. And so if that's the case, then I'm going to take all the bad things that happened to me and figure out, don't let your pain go wasted. Or I believe that you are the sum of the obstacles you overcome. It's funny. I have a fitness product. I don't know where my spin gym is. I love my little fitness products, but you've got another guest on your show, a guy named James Malinchak. I went out to his event many years ago. In the morning that I flew out there, my best friend who helped me do everything that I was doing, and she stayed up with me at night and wrote books with me. She didn't have great eyesight, but she was Puerto Rican and loved me, and she's the first person to really believe in me. I just got into California, and the phone rings. She had an asthma attack outside her son's house from a dog. She was ringing the doorbell when they found her dead on the front doorstep because she couldn't catch her breath. And so I look at all this and go, all right. I really do deserve the cute guy. I put some time in here. But I think a lot of people have suffered. I just don't think they've made a story out of it. I don't think they've enjoyed it. Bad things seem to happen to good people. You know, when COVID hit, so many people are like, oh my God, this is horrible. And I'm thinking, it's just one of a lot of milestones and stuff that you're going to go through and get over. And by the way, you don't go back to normal. There's never been a normal, but there's a new. And Mo, you talked about being a strategist. Yeah, we kind of embraced the strategy of this, going, this is interesting. All right. After I cleaned every closet that I have and realized it'd be kind of weird going to the grocery store, I said, this is kind of interesting. This is like a movie. It's just, you know, I saw Contagion or all those movies. I'm curious to see how this plays out. I'm not going to give up. And in fact, the best thing that happened, and the best thing that happened to billionaires, because I just saw a thing that more billionaires have made money during this time.
Yep.
They wait for this. This is like the Great Depression. And it's funny because it's like all the people who, when the water goes out before a tsunami, like, oh, look at all that. They're gone.
Well, Forbes, I said in the beginning of last year, when this was first starting, I said, we're about to witness the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of this country. And that's exactly what has been happening. And so the question isn't whether or not that's going to happen. The question is, where are you? Where am I? And where are the people watching this going to be? What side are you going to be on? Because you may not like the fact that it's the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of our country. It may bother you. It may make you feel some kind of way. Your feelings are irrelevant. That's happening. And so where are you going to be? Are you going to be on the side where your wealth is increasing, or are you going to be on the side where your wealth is decreasing? Because that's happening right now. And it's not going, honestly, it's just the beginning. I think that the next decade, Forbes, economically, are going to be a very radical time where things are going to be moving, resources are going to be shifting. And so it's certainly going to be interesting. But now more than ever before, people need to know the art of pitching. Because really, it all comes down to how you can pitch, how you can influence. Goldie.
I'm back at the piece of paper with the how and the yes. So where I remember last time you were talking about your program. I remember your daughter's doing some cool things. Where does somebody find your pitching this thing?
Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you a little story. My daughter is 17 years old and she hasn't graduated high school yet, right?
Yeah.
She sits me down and she says, Mom, I love your spin gym. I love all that you're doing, but I want you to focus. I want you to see how you're going to make the biggest impact on people. I'm like, okay. She said, let's create the program that you do because no one's coming to the studio anymore. It's all going to be online. And I said, okay. And so I created a training called Pitch Secrets Masterclass. I've been teaching on Sundays.
Okay.
And then people create a thing called Media Mastery. And then I created a thing called OPP. And I don't want people more than 6 weeks because I'll tell you what, I get in, I do what I need to do. I make you practice it, then I send you on your way. And then we created some high-level mastermind. We created a thing called Boardroom. My daughter and I, by the way, so she owns the company.
Mm-hmm.
In 5.5 months, she grows $352,000.
Yep.
You're like, girl, wow, that's pretty clever. And that all comes down to systems and processes. And then my side of it really being very engaging with people. So a couple of things. It's going very well. It's going well because people need to understand what it is I'm talking about when I say pitching. And I can do this. It's amazing. I love doing this. So Mo, pick up something on your desk. Let's see how this works.
Right here.
Yeah.
Actually, let's do this right here. Let's do the LA Tribune mug.
Let's do it.
Tribune mug. Okay. There you go. You've got 20 seconds to pitch me the mug.
Forbes, if you take this mug, I'm going to pay you $5,000 to accept this as a gift.
You're going to go broke very fast with the pitch, but I'll take your money.
But you'll take the mug, won't you?
I got good charities I can donate it to. Hey everybody, here's the deal. I've got the most amazing mug. Now, I don't know about you, but I sit at this desk all day long. This mug is made out of Himalayan ceramic. It keeps the cold cold and the hot hot. It is an unbelievable, man, I'll tell you what. This is what you need to stay hydrated. Let me show you what this is called, a springboard story. I didn't drink enough water last year, got a kidney stone and almost died. This has a timer on the back of it.
Shit.
I know, right?
She went for the kidney stone. Ow.
I listen. The art of war taught me, Forbes. Don't ever start a battle you know you're gonna lose. Okay. If
You
I'm
did a
gonna
good
go,
job, Mo.
if I'm gonna go in a pitching competition with Forbes Riley, I'm throwing the white flag. I'm not that foolish.
Well, no, but actually, it's not a competition. It's actually, I love teaching the non-apparent. So Goldie, pick up something right in front of you. And I'll show you why this works so well. It's a system that I created that I truly love. And I finally made it into a system. Okay, go for it. 20 seconds on the clock.
Everything that I would say to pitch this to you is not applicable for online. I was going to say this covers something really well, and it's really cold. And, you know, I can't say what I was going to say, Forbes.
It doesn't cover a microphone?
Well, it could, or it could cover something else because it's cold. But yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Wait. Who wears that?
I'm just saying, you told me to pitch it. It's cold right now. There's a lot of guys out there with cold wieners that are it's snowing in Texas. You know, this could go as a microphone.
This is how we know Goldie has a background in wrestling. Okay, of course she's a professional entertainer.
It could be a microphone
has a background in
cover.
wrestling.
It could cover some other things on a snowy
Absolutely.
day. There you go. Here you go.
I've been pitching to a whole nother level too. Okay.
Yeah, she did. But anyways,
come on. Let her pitch my muff.
Well, can I pitch your muff? So seriously, is that what it does, or is it really a microphone cover?
No, it really is a microphone cover.
Okay.
There you go.
Not with your hand in it like that. I can't concentrate. I don't even know why I would want to pitch that to somebody. I would just go, yes, buy this. If your man can fit in the air, he's too small. Okay, let's go to the next subject. The point is, a couple of things that your audience needs to know when it comes to pitching. I think I'm fading away here. One, stop telling people what they need. You know, Mo, when you invited me and the other celebrities you've got on this panel, you didn't tell us that we need to do the show. You need to do the show because it will help you. No, you made us do something we want to do. Hey, guys, I've got a great audience. I've got great access. You know, I'd really love to support you. And that's a very engaging pitch, right? And so that's what that does. You engaged us. The second thing is people pitch me all the time like I'm not here. Well, Forbes, you know, the fitness industry is a $42 billion industry. I'm like, right here, Fitness Hall of Fame. I get that. What you might want to do is make an assumption going, hey, Forbes, you know what? I know that you're in the health and fitness industry. And as a professional, I'd like to introduce you to something. See what I did there? And I don't know why people don't understand that. I'm on Clubhouse taking pitches. Even after I tell them what to do, they still come and it's wow. So the other thing, Goldie, that I want to offer you is that I think we as women need a little bit more role models out there. We need women who love on other women, who believe that it's not a competition.
Agreed.
Believe that we've all gone through so much shit. I don't like little girls, and I'll say that right now. I didn't like them when they were little, and I didn't like how they treated my daughter. Little girls are kind of catty. But apparently we get to that age where, you know, sex starts happening, and all of us have had some moment where we realize that we should really stick together here. And, you know, Mo, you can name how many motivational male speakers are out there?
Countless. You know, so many I'll probably forget half of them. I can't remember half of them.
You got your Tony Robbins, your Grant Cardone, your Gary Vee, your Lewis Howes, your Kevin, go on and on. Who's the woman?
Right.
And everybody says Oprah. Everybody says Oprah. And then I said, you know what? I love Oprah. Oprah's not a mom. I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot. I actually played small in my motivational speaking career because I was already traveling 200 days a year. At the end of my life, while most of you go, oh, that was really sad, my kids will be right there for me because you know what? Turned out to be a really good mom.
Yeah.
And I don't, it's so funny. My accountant would always say, you live below your means. I'm like, yeah. So when, you know, 08 happened, I was fine and could sleep at night. I don't know where we came and said that the size of your car or the house or the size of your diamond ring really dictates who you are. In fact, I think it's quite the opposite. At a major network, E! Entertainment and Forbes magazine came to do a special on me called Outrageous Fortunes. And they were very upset to find out that I drove a Prius. I said, well, why wouldn't I? It's a great car. I mean, where am I going? In Florida? I'm in Tampa, Florida. I'm going to try and impress people. It takes me to the grocery store and gets the kids, and it took 1 tank of gas to get all the way across the state. I love this. Why wouldn't I? And they made me borrow my next door neighbor's Jaguar.
Interesting.
I said, we do this to each other. Let's knock it off.
You're absolutely right.
Happiness in who we are and not comparing. And Goldie, I love that you said that I'm pretty. You know what? I would look at someone like you who really is very glamorous. And in the old days, I would have really kind of thought, wow, that's who I want to be. Something changed. something changed because I fell in love with a little girl named Christine. Christine, I found her in the park. We were doing spin gym, and she's in a wheelchair. She'll always be in a wheelchair because she's got cerebral palsy. You know the weirdest thing about this little girl pisses me off to no end? She's the biggest smile on her face. She never stops smiling, and she has nothing to smile about. She lives in a one-bedroom apartment. Her mom, I've helped them out since then, but her mom has to pick her up to put her in the bathtub. She said to me one day, she said, Forbes, you're the most successful person I know. I said, why? Because I'm on TV and I do this? I said, no. She said, because you can wear a pair of high heels and walk across the floor anytime you want, and I never will. And so I don't really care about all the things that make other people happy. I fell in love. I worked very hard to find Joshua. And I kind of love, it's like, bring it on. You want to hate on us? That's fine. I love people say, well, Joshua must want you only for your money because you're old. Like, really? No, I don't have that much money. I'm just really good in bed. Thank you.
Mo.
Well, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting, Forbes, when you asked who the biggest motivational speakers that are women are. Honestly, the first three names that come to my name are the three people that we've had here today, and we have here today: Sharon Lechter, Forbes Riley, Lisa Nichols.
Well, there is an army of women that is. I'm very proud. I'm so proud. I love Sharon. She's been my role model long before I met her. And Lisa, I've actually never met, which is crazy, but she's doing it. She was out there. She was the first. But she's not the first one people come to mind when they say like Tony Robbins. And I would love to have her and I get to a level where you just immediately go, man, they are doing it.
I think Forbes, and we're going to wrap this up, and I want to thank you, Forbes, for always being a friend and always saying yes to everything I ask you of. It means a lot to me. And, anything that we can ever do to support you, you already know we will. And, I want to wrap this up by just giving you the floor to share some final words. And, what I will say is that your best is yet to come. I think that what the greatest part of your legacy, Forbes, is yet to be seen, and I can see that and I can feel that. And in fact, I'm not kissing anyone's ass. I'm just telling you the truth of what I see in you, that your best is yet to come, and I'm excited to have a front row seat to witness that. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the full screen for a couple minutes so you can just share a final, a couple minutes of final words of wisdom to our audience before we move on.
Thank you, Forbes.
That was so sweet of both of you. You made me cry, actually. I would love you guys to join me tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow's Sunday at 1 o'clock. Go to ForbesRileyLive.com, and I'm going to be taking the stage with Deepak Chopra and Jack Canfield. So final word of wisdom. I have an amazing mentor. I've had mentors that I didn't even realize were mentors. My speaking coach has only one client. His name is Joe Theismann. He's an NFL football quarterback. You may have seen his story on the Blind Side. And I met him 2 decades ago on the set of an infomercial. And I wasn't speaking. In fact, I didn't think I had anything to say. I was an actress who said other people's words. And he was doing speeches, and I sat in one of them, and he said, you could do it. It'd be amazing. And the greatest gift that you can give somebody is tell them from your heart, like Mo just did for me, to tell them that they're wonderful. Because for so long, I didn't get it. I did not know that I was enough. I thought the fact that my thighs touched and I was a little overweight and people made fun of me, they must be right. People who had blonde hair and straight noses must be pretty. And I will tell you what, I learned the hard way that the only true happiness is looking right inside, is to let go the prejudging of whatever else you think you should or could be. Now, I'll share a little something else with you. That if you've got something in your closet in your past that's holding you back and you know it, reach out to me on social media, because we do something crazy. I help people break through that limiting belief. It's not something you would ever hear publicly before. I don't talk about it. But the reason I'm where I am now is because, like an onion, I had to let some of the things go. I had to let some of the bullies in my head go. I had to let some of the stories my mom told me. I had to let some stories go and start writing my future, not from my past. Because noodle on this for a second. Your memories aren't real. They're stories that you've told. You can make up anything you want. I don't know the truth. But you keep saying that same old story to you. Ever go to a meeting, somebody like, let me tell you about how horrible my life is. Take your baggage and leave it at the gate. Try flying into a future that isn't dictated by what happened yesterday. Stop blaming. Stop looking back and go, wow, if I couldn't see back, who do I want to be? Who do I get to be? Answer the question, what do you want for real? Then I want you to dream it. I want you to paint a picture of it. Then I want you to believe it. I want you to tell everybody about what you want next. Just like Mo said, what if I was the greatest female speaker ever? Oprah, I love you. Lisa Nichols, I love you, but move over. I got something to say. I've been waiting my whole life to say it. Well, that just might happen. If you believe it, you dream it, you believe it, guess what? You can achieve it. And I'm going to give you permission to do that. I'm going to give you permission to think bigger and bolder than you ever imagined. Reach out to me on social media. I am all over there and happy to help and support you guys. And Mo, made my night.
Love you, my dear. I appreciate you so much. And speaking of powerful women, I'm going to roll in a couple real game changers here as we go to the next panel. Of course, Paula and Shalini, two powerful lionesses in and of themselves. You know, we at the LA Tribune will always support lionesses. It's what we do. And with that, Forbes, whenever you want to head off. Appreciate you. I'm going to let Natalie rock the house from here. Thank you all so much.
Hi, Forbes.
He's a smart man, by the way. Look who he surrounded himself with. Natalie, your mic is muted.
He knows. He's a, he knows who to surround himself with. He's good.
So how did that resonate with you guys?
I loved what you said earlier, Forbes, about, not enough women out there as these big motivational speakers and keynote speakers. We do automatically go to men immediately.
Shalene, why do you think that is?
I'm working so hard to level the playing field for women in what I'm doing. I think it's just more women having conversations like this and giving them the confidence to step forward and have their voice heard. I think 2021 is all about giving women a seat at the table, letting them have their voice heard in the future of, all of this. We have a lot of knowledge to share.
Yeah.
I think it's all about believing. You had mentioned that. One of my books is called Believe It, Become It. And so when you said believe it, achieve it, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly right. And I think too many women simply don't believe in themselves, Forbes, enough. And that's one of the things we do is we teach them, and I teach women all over the world to love themselves just the way they are today. And you talked about, you felt like you weren't enough. If we could get to those youth, those girls, those teenagers, and teach them how to love themselves, and then comes the confidence, and they can love others so much more easily.
Natalie?
Well, it's the same thing. I believe that we don't have enough women supporting each other. And I think that is key. We have some women who support each other, but there's still a lot of that crap mentality, honestly speaking. I'm very blessed to know Shalini, to know Paula, to now know you a little better, to know Goldie. I work hard on surrounding myself and empowering women. But I do see that there's still a lot of social conditioning in the back of women's heads. And you said something similar that I so resonated with, Forbes, because I'm a mom. So, what do we do first? Do we speak first, or do we attend to our kids first? Men still often don't have to make that choice. So I think that's part of it. Just today, I don't know how often I ran out while I wasn't needed, just to make sure she's all right. And I think that's worth it.
How old is
she? She's 9.5.
Perfect age. So what I did,
she wrote a book already. So
there you go. This is what our new generation is. Like I said, my daughter owns a company. My son works for my daughter. She's a little bit more aggressive than she is. And the reason that she's who she is because I always took her with me.
Yes.
She's my right hand. I traveled around the world with her. So she went to events with me. She would sit backstage. She's been on stage with me. It's because I just wanted to be with her. And I will tell you, one of the funny things that there you go. So beautiful. What is her name?
Felicity.
So Felicity means beautiful, doesn't it, my girl? Yeah.
You are gorgeous. Absolutely.
What is your book about? Felicity, what is your book about?
What's your book about, babe?
It's about animals.
And what inspired you to write a book?
I'm not really sure. It's just one of those moments when you just get this feeling that you just want to do something.
And nice. What do you want to be when you grow up?
I have no idea.
Perfect answer for 9-year-old. I wanted to be an astronaut. It didn't work out, and I'm really glad. I will tell you, my daughter is 18, and one of the things that we want to do, maybe ladies, you can help facilitate this, is we want to do a mother-daughter event, an event where because McKenna just turned 18. It's kind of cool. She's got a book out called Every Company Needs a Kid. And it's because you, Felicity, are smarter than we are. You know why you are? Because you don't know the rules. If you don't know the rules, you can dream as big as you want. We, all of us, will tell you all the reasons that you can't do something because we've tried it. You wrote a book. Congratulations. You can do anything you want at this age. Mm-hmm. So my advice is stay as innocent and as bright as you can be and give your mom a big hug for me.
Yes, Forbes, we will. I love the idea of a mother-daughter event. We're good. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm not kidding, because I really like the idea that we can hear a lot of young entrepreneurs, a lot of advice, and then a lot of women who have no idea how to empower their kids, and that's okay, because they don't learn that in school.
And I think what you're saying is so perfect also because Paula is here and Shalini is here. Because Shalini she's ramping up what she's doing with Ready, Jet, Set, Go. And then Paula, of course, has been talking for years, empowering women, and International Women's Day is coming up. So I know that we have a huge event for that. So it's the perfect segue, Forbes, also to talk about what Shalini and what Paula do. And I think the four of us together, I don't know, might be something to be reckoned with, just saying. I'm not trying to pitch you, but I don't think you can say no.
No, I can. That's a good pitch. No, I'm actually not saying no. I'm not saying no to much right now. If it's a good idea, and I know it is. Shalini, what are you launching?
So I just launched my third beauty brand, but we're doing this one with a huge mission and social impact behind it. So in 2017, I received the Mahatma Gandhi Award at the British House of Lords for my work in women empowerment and beauty. And then shortly thereafter, government officials from India were like, we really need you to come help the girls here. So once I realized that a lot of these girls didn't have access to education or any opportunities, I thought it was time to really step in and use beauty for a higher purpose and create a new brand and intersect it with ed tech, where we could go in and skill underprivileged girls to be the next generation of beauty entrepreneurs. But when the pandemic hit, we realized that the impact was much broader than that. And a lot of women were losing jobs. I'm sure all of you saw the article where 152,000 jobs were lost last year, all of them women. 16,000 jobs gained, all of those men. And so we realized that we had to broaden the impact, and we added an online academy where they can learn skills professionally and personally, so they have the tools to thrive. And this week we just did something really revolutionary for us. We launched a crowdfunding campaign because we want to make more women comfortable as investors. And what gets on my nerves sometimes is these guys will go out to dinner with all their friends and they'll be like, I have this great idea. And then within an hour, all their friends have chipped in all this money and they're funded. Women don't have those conversations. You don't hear women sitting around a table saying, I'll throw in 10,000, 25,000. So what we did is we just launched on Republic, and we're giving women, anyone, but we really want to make this for women, a seat at our table for as little as $100 investment to own equity in a global beauty brand. And we're running this campaign for the next 69 days, and we've had so many women.
What's the name of what you're talking about?
This is the brand Ready, Set, Jet, and then you can go on republic.co/ready-set-jet. And I can give you the information. But we really want to just make women just more confident in financial decisions and feeling more empowered to go out there and use their voice, and to also have their voice heard in the future of beauty.
Well, I love that. And I know we've met before. I would love to have that conversation with you offline. Also, I don't know, but Clubhouse has been a phenomenal platform for me personally. We did a women's sponsorship program for 5 hours today. I've got a couple friends who really, there's a couple of us who can attract a really nice sized crowd right now on that platform. I have 23,000 followers, and I'm very committed to that. So please, all of you, reach out to me. The other thing I can offer you guys is, I don't know if you've seen the One Habit book series. So I partnered with the guy who created the One Habit, and within 24 hours, it's a compilation book, but it's not the thousands of dollars compilation books are. It's actually about $300 to become a best-selling author, and it takes about 45 minutes of your time. But you're in a book with amazing people. In this particular book, we did one habit for entrepreneurial success, and that ended up being people like Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, MMA fighters. I had politicians. I had my students. We had amazing 150 authors in that book. This one, and I know you're going to love this, Paula, we did this in 18 days. We came up with the title, How to Thrive in a Post-COVID World.
Wow.
In 24 hours, my network on Facebook is very powerful. I've got an amazing group. It's very low cost. Within 24 hours, 100 people said yes. Within 2 days, it was done. We edited, and it was in our hands around the world in 18 days.
That's amazing.
I know. So I have one that might interest you guys called One Habit. If you go to onehabit.com/home office, it is phenomenal. My publisher is on fire. He has systems, and it's interesting. You could do one habit for beauty experts or one habit to be more beautiful. Like literally, you could have beauty experts from around the world give their one habit and their one unhabit and create a book about beauty habits.
I would love that. We focus so much on inner beauty and outer beauty, because they go hand in hand. And especially now, I feel like the inner beauty is even more important. Self-care, mental health, all of that's become such a big, realization that women need to step into that side of beauty as well. So yeah, I absolutely agree. And Forbes, I have to agree with you. Clubhouse has been amazing. We brought on a ton of female investors from Clubhouse. We signed 2 strategic partnerships globally because of Clubhouse. So I receive.
What room are you hanging out in? Where are you? I've got to like you.
I just go on and I jump into rooms, and our opportunity with Money Set Jet is cross border. So we're U.S. and India. And so I go into a lot of the U.S. India venture ecosystem rooms, and and I go into the women's rooms, I go in the beauty rooms, and it's just been great for networking and meeting amazing people. And of course, Damon John's a good friend of ours, and so we jump into his room a lot. It's always inspiring.
This has been such a remarkable and powerful dynamic. I mean, I wish I could sit here for the next 8 hours and listen to the 4 of you talk and take notes. I mean, I don't even know what to say. This is electric and magnetic. And as we delve into the last few minutes of this section, we have some real amazing people that are going to come up next in a few minutes. We have Larry Namer, the founder of E Entertainment, along with Tony Potts, who's going to be joining us in just a few minutes. Before we start segueing into the final chapter of this, and I hate to do this because I'm having such a good time watching, but sadly we are running a little short on time. I want to give the floor to Paula Fellingham for a few minutes, and I want to give Paula Fellingham a solo view for a couple minutes because Paula, you've been listening, you've been engaging, you've been paying attention, you've heard all of the incredible things, all of the speakers throughout the course of the day, and I have a saying: save the best for last. That's why I made sure Forbes Riley is here at the tail end of day one. In the music industry, you have the opening act and then you have the grand finale, the person at the end. The hit song is always at the end of a concert, right? And so that's why we brought in Forbes and Paula and Shalini here towards these are the hit songs. But I want to give the floor to Paula because I'm curious, Paula, what is it that you can say to our audience about methods to lead their lives and lead their businesses and ways to take things to the next level? I'd love to just give you the floor for a couple minutes. Please,
well,
Paula.
I would love that. Thank you so much, Mo. And before I do that, I would love to tell everybody, and we mentioned it just a tiny bit, about International Women's Day. And because I've been so honored for many, many years to own internationalwomensday.org, we have many, many women who come, thousands of women who come every year. And on the 100th anniversary of International Women's Day, that was 2011, then the Women's Information Network.com, we hosted 377 live events in 152 countries. So this year, which is coming up just in a couple of weeks, on March 6th, 7th, and 8th, and will be, because of our COVID challenge and blessing, and I agree with Forbes on that it's so many ways a blessing, then we will be on internationalwomensday.org with 42 presenters and entertainers, magnificent women, and I'd just love to invite our audience to join us. So in answer to your question, Mo, I really believe that, and sweet Natalie had talked to us about how do you create and maintain happiness and success in business and your personal life. And we were talking about motherhood. I have 8 children and 24 grandchildren.
Wow.
Just have loved this. And yes, and it's magnificent. and had this opportunity to really learn about the importance of unhurried time with your children. I love what you're doing with your children, Forbes, and it's just such a blessing to get them involved. And of the many, many nations on every continent that I've taught for so many, many years, then I always take children, and I always have given them that opportunity. But I believe, and I prepared for this a little bit, and I know we're short on time, but I'll go ahead and just end with a quote. But I have 5 things I'd like to tell you really quickly about the way that we do, in answer to your, how do you create and maintain success in your personal life and in your business? And the first one has to be belief. It has to be that you believe in yourself. And the second, it has to be that you love and serve. And I mentioned love a little bit earlier, but it's so, so important that we do that. And then to relinquish negativity. And again, we all know this, but it is a choice. And I have many ways of teaching how to do that. And then to seize opportunities for leadership positions, especially for our women, and to build their personal power. It's so important. And then to connect and collaborate. I feel like my middle name is Collaboration, Paula Collaboration Fellingham, because I could not have put on over 400 events in 152 nations if I didn't collaborate. And it's such a key. So I did want to answer that. But this quote by George Bernard Shaw, he said, "This is the true joy in life, being used for a purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one, being a true force of nature, instead of a feverish little cloud of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy." He said, "I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It's a sort of splendid torch, which I've got to hold up for the moment. And I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations," close quote. And that is my quick wisdom for today.
Thank you so much, Paul. I have to tell you, though, I love everything that you said, but that's my second favorite George Bernard Shaw quote. My favorite.
Tell me your first.
My favorite being, "Many see things as they are and wonder why, but I see things that never were and wonder why not." And it's exactly what Forbes was talking about living a life on your own terms. Guys, I want to thank you all for joining us and having this incredible panel. This has been so exciting. Up next, we have a couple people that have really made their mark in the entertainment world. I know Shalini, I think you might be acquaintances with one of them. I'm not fully sure.
I might be married to one of them.
Oh, is that right?
Just bring him in. Bring him in. Bring him in.
Come say hi, because we've got our computers set up.
There we go. Amazing. Look at that. Awesome.
Now you know I'm so well lit. I live with a guy that's been on TV, so he makes sure that we've got really good lighting.
Perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in my old friend Larry Namer, who I haven't seen in a long time. It's good to see you again. Long time no see.
Unmute your mic,
Your
Larry.
microphone is muted.
I'm unmuted now.
Welcome, Larry. Long time no see. It's been a few years. Hopefully you've been well.
Doing as well as you can during these crazy times. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so we're going to go ahead and give the floor to Goldie, Natalie, Tony, and Larry for the next panel. I want to thank Forbes and Paula for everything. Love you guys,
Larry,
and we'll stay in touch.
Larry, were you part of E when you guys did the E Outrageous Fortunes?
Yeah.
With Forbes magazine. Yes, you guys helped launch my Spin Gym on that network on that time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I go back to the first day it went on the air. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. I look forward to listening to this.
Great.
Hi, Forbes.
Natalie and Goldie, you guys will take it over from here with Larry and Tony. God bless.
Awesome. I'm so excited to finally meet you, Tony.
Hi. Tony.
Finally meeting Tony. Been conversing with him, heard all about you. I don't know, all the good stuff. And Larry, I'm so excited to see you again. It's been about 2 years. But
I can't wait to hear everyone's stories. This is a new one for me. Let's go.
Hi, Larry. How are you, Larry?
I'm hanging in, doing well.
I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. It's good to see your face.
Still, hunkered down in LA, not going anywhere. So,
is that where you are?
Yeah, but
Like,
Larry, you've got something new going on. I mean, everybody's talking about, the stuff that you used to do and the stuff, how important you were, E entertainment, working with the Chinese, all of that. But what is this Fanvestor thing that you're now coming up with?
Yeah, that's a new. I started 2 new companies this year because my alternative was, going out learning how to play golf, which I wasn't going to do. So Fanvestor is a digital platform that allows fans to invest in their favorite celebrities, businesses, or projects, or anything like that. So we bring fans and celebs together. One of the few companies that's actually licensed by the Security Exchange Commission, so we can actually do stock in a celebrity's new company, and we do a lot of stuff now with athletes where they want to start wellness lines or clothing lines or sneaker lines and stuff. So basically, it's a vehicle of connecting fans and their heroes.
I think that's going to be, I know it's going to be brilliant. Larry, I've seen so many people. I'm in the sports entertainment world, wrestling world, and I've seen the biggest boom over the last year of just all, we can't go to the conferences. So all the meet and greets are all virtual. And it's like, we've got like one guy that's probably listening and watching, Dan Hawkins. Every day, this guy is like hobnobbing with the royalty of all royals. And I know people like that, including myself, would absolutely love something like what you have to offer. When is that going to be live?
It was a year ago, before the pandemic. If I would talk to a celeb or the manager, they would kind of go, well, we're going on tour and concerts are good and festivals are good, making 3 movies. And, they were very reluctant to try anything new.
Yeah.
But now, that they realize that not only has this gone on for a long time, but it's very likely we're going to hit a few more bumps along the road. So everybody is looking for a second way to generate revenue streams. So everybody is looking to do things outside of what their core, skill is. So actors and actresses and sports celebs and musicians and stuff, they all got a second thing going now.
And when is this live?
It's live now. The platform's up and running. It's fully built. And, we've got a bunch of stuff. Really, the end of February starts. We've got a bunch of new stuff going on with some basketball players, baseball players, musicians, kind of from all over the place. And
congratulations.
It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Did you think of it, Larry?
No, it was actually a guy named Michael Gowan. Michael came out of the financial world, and he decided to do it. But then he realized early on that you really need, for this kind of thing, you needed multiple disciplines. Number one, you need to understand the financial world because regulatory compliance is key. If you don't know how to do the compliance stuff, you go to jail. He came in, he brought in a guy named Najib Bakazi because he needed someone who knew how to be the architect of engineering systems that knew how to do really big stuff that scales well and could be global. And I was on the advisory board, and then, we realized kind of the third leg of the stool was the understanding of how the media and the entertainment world worked, which is certainly, where I came in. And, so I was able to kind of pull the pieces together.
I got it. Congrats. Sorry, Natalie, talk. I didn't mean to step on you.
No, it's amazing what I love about it, because I saw Larry posting on Facebook when you started with this and the podcast. But I also know that Tony is also in the entertainment industry. So we've got 2 experts in the entertainment industry. And we talked a little bit about with Fanvestor, you mentioned it, Larry, how things are changing. I wonder for you, Tony, I know you do more than, just e-entertainment and all that you have a lot of experience in the background. I believe artists, I always mess it up, content artists, I think is your company. Yes. Artist. Okay. That one. Yep. So, you work a lot with artists, and because of the pandemic and because of social media, how has the entertainment industry changed? What advice would you give people who are coaches, people who are in the music industry, people who want to be in entertainment. What advice can you give those who are up and coming? Either one of you.
Well, one thing I can say real quick is that anytime that Larry Namer says this, and some stuff, pay attention, because his stuff always ends up to be. We've had some good talks in the past, so
Yeah.
I would always keep an ear to Larry. For us at the Content Artists, we came into 2020 to launch, and we're a 360 global media company, so we dabble in film, but our main thrust is digital out of home, DOOH, right?
Mm-hmm.
And prior to the pandemic, 82% of all screens that humans saw were outside of the home. So think about that for a minute, right? Only 18% in the home. So that's an avenue, a distribution avenue for people to reach new audiences. And so we've done joint ventures with the company. So we have exclusive distribution inside of every Uber and Lyft in America. And soon we're working on being in 90% of all airports in the country as well. Wow. And those are different kinds of distribution. One is incredibly data driven. 50 data points every 2 minutes when you're in an Uber and a Lyft. Yeah. So brands really love that as well, in a way that you can program your content up to the minute. For example, you could, if you're a brand, say you're, Fanvestor, and you've decided to do a gamification ad. So when you get in the back of an Uber, it says, hey, do you want to play a game? And so you gamify, count the Fanvestor logos that fly by, and there'll be like maybe a football or a cow or something that flies by as well. You'll have 4 separate answers you can get. You'll hit 12. You'll say, okay, there were 12 Fanvestors that go by. Oh, congratulations! Here's 10% off on something at Fanvestor. Well, Larry could look at and say, well, how is that ad playing in New York City? Right? He could look down and he'll see the actual cars that are going in real time where they're playing his ad. So if they're going up Fifth Avenue, he knows. And every 2 minutes, he's getting 50 data points back. And then we also use Google TensorFlow, which tells us, and it's all GDP compliant, tells us who's in the car to an extent, make sure it's a human being and what have you. So that part of it's really, really interesting to us. We're also still, creating content in a way that takes advantage of what has happened. And Larry hit it, on the head, that you have to find new ways to reach people, right? And I think one of the things that there are many bad things about the pandemic, but one of them, a good friend of mine is Scott Movie Mance, who's the movie critic that was at Hollywood, Access Hollywood for years with me. And one of the things we've learned is that we're starting to pay more attention to the people who matter in our lives and the artists who matter in our lives, and not so much to disperse that energy and that care and that love to everybody, and take that now and focus it back in through mediums like this. And, I was thinking the other day, I grew up in Seattle, and I remember all the, rock and roll shows that went, all the bands that played, and they were nothing at the time. And then some of them turned out to be rather large, a year or two later, like, wow, remember that band at the Doc Maynard's and, in Pioneer Square in Seattle, and now they're, on MTV. But what happens to all of those, right? And I think with Larry's platform and what we're doing as well, innovative content creation with the global distribution really helps. And I think it's really pushed certain things that we needed to do in the business that we were kind of, maybe not, this is how things go. It made us really focus and push forward in those ways. So it's been a little crazy, but actually really liberating and energizing.
Wow.
Where'd you go?
Oh, just lost you there with the last 2 words.
I'm here.
Okay.
You're stuttering a little bit, but okay. Or is that was your final thought? I was like, wait, there's more. I wanted to hear that's what you're saying.
Well, whatever you heard was the final thing, I think.
Okay, good. So what I'm hearing is that Tony Potts and Larry Namer will collaborate on the innovative content creation and Fanvestor. Am I getting that right?
Possibly.
There's a good chance.
There's a good chance. We have some things in common.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit more about the history of the media, the entertainment industry, because you're both experts. And when I say history, I don't mean anything other than there's an evolution. So social media nowadays, everybody has a podcast, everybody has a Facebook Live, everybody has that. So how do you keep things interesting and fresh, other than with innovative content creation and bringing artists closer to their fans. What can we do to remain fresh and interesting to the audience?
Well, I mean, number one, I think, and I'll talk about some of the major changes since I first got in and stuff. When I got into the business, and we would do a plan for any kind of media endeavor, media project, you would kind of look at it, you'd budget it, and then you'd kind of weight it out 95% US and 5% other. You didn't even give countries a name. You just referred to the rest of the world was other. And now if you do a project, you're really looking at 30% US. And now you got to think of China and Russia and Europe and South America and Mexico, and even Africa now has become a significant player. The Middle East has become significant. So if you really want to be in this business, you got to really start to think globally. You got to realize that your stuff, in order to be successful, is going to need to play to world audiences. And that not everything has to be in English. Not everything has to be for America. I've got a company in China that I've had for 12 years, and we produce stuff only in Mandarin. Which is kind of funny. The Jewish kid from New York producing in Chinese, but it's a great business. I mean, the Chinese audience is huge, and before that, I did a whole bunch of stuff in Russia, in Russian language and stuff. There's a whole world out there, and you got to recognize you can produce stuff for these countries. You can produce stuff for global audiences. That the U.S. is not the beginning and the end of, where the entertainment business takes you.
Well, it's interesting. I'll follow up on what Larry said. We helped spin out a digital company in Amsterdam, and it came out of what was, I think, the 4th or 5th largest multi-channel network in the world. And what we saw, so they spent out about 200 videos a week, news videos, right, to Reuters and Huffington Post and what have you. We looked at what was coming through that and said, wow, there's some programming there. There's some formats. And so, we looked globally to see what those formats were and what we could do and how we could create content for that. So, for example, there was a guy in Madrid that we had found who had a torch in one hand, a sword in another, and had women waiting 2 months for him to cut their hair. So we created a reality show called Sword Salon off of that. But we found, that the audience, like in Eastern Europe, Central Europe, is a little bit different. But at the end of the day, a good story is a good story is a good story. And, it's not, everybody always says, content is king, and that's BS. Good content is king. Because that goes to what you were saying, Natalie, before. There's a boatload of things out there, and it's a tornado. And how do you cut through it, right? And so that's one of the things. And that's one of the things I learned at Access Hollywood. We're all kind of doing the same thing. Larry's E was doing what we're doing. We're on the red carpet with Entertainment Tonight. So we're all doing the same stuff, interviewing Charlize or George or whomever. How do we make that different? How do we take that opportunity and create a moment? Because people don't remember your graphics. They don't give it. Nobody at night says, "Hey, honey, did you see the graphics on Access Hollywood?" Nobody gives a crap about that. It's more about, "Hey, did you see that Julia Roberts moment where she did X, Y, and Z?" So unfortunately, I've had some of those moments happen when I wasn't expecting them. But you have to create moments. You have to think about, okay, we're kind of all doing the same thing. How do I create a moment out of this that will resonate with the audience and then embed over time? There's for us, whenever we did the post-Oscar show on Monday, we rated above everybody because we always did things extraordinarily creatively well because we were a little bit the underdog, so to speak. So we had to think differently. And so that's what I would tell people is and also be true to your story. Be really true to that story, and it'll resonate.
What were Tony, 2 top moments? 13 years you did this with Access Hollywood?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just a couple. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but 2 moments that you were just wow, this is gonna be in my brain forever.
Well, there's one that was kind of in my brain and in my crotch at the same time, which became somewhat famous. And I was backstage with Julia Roberts after she won the People's Choice Award. And if you know the Transamerica building in San Francisco, it comes to a point.
Yes.
So does that very heavy glass thing she won. She was swinging it around while I'm interviewing her or walking backstage, and she hits me right in the, what's. And it's
yeah.
like, and so it's my face.
Oh my
blood rushes
God.
from my face, and she's cracking up and she feels so bad. And so I'm trying to speak, but I don't have much breath. Fast forward a couple weeks later, we're at the Golden Globes and George Clooney wins the Golden Globe for whatever the heck it was. He gets off stage. I'm waiting, back, and he sees me. So the first thing he does, he goes, "Hey, I saw you with Julia Roberts." It seems like something like this happened. And so he hit me down there as well. And I'm like, "You just won a Golden Globe, and that's the first thing you're thinking of is my private parts?"
And he intentionally did that to you?
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting. But there's other times when you're sitting across from somebody like Sir Anthony Hopkins, and you're thinking to yourself, "I'm a small kid from Puyallup, Washington. Like, how did I get here?" Right? Or sitting across, from Meryl Streep, and, or I went on tour for a while, well, it was supposed to be 4, but I ended up being 2 shows with Motley Crue because I figured I wanted to stay alive. So, it's stuff like that. And to realize that the great thing, and I'll stop, is that most of these amazingly creative human beings that I was blessed to run around the world with are truly just like you and I. I mean, like from Nicole Kidman, who wants to quit almost every movie the night before because she thinks she can't do it.
Really?
She'll be a failure. Yeah. I mean, so that's the thing, like, especially this day and age with mental health and what have you, like, you don't know what people are going through behind the scenes. And some of these most successful people are this far away from just running out of whatever they're doing because they're thinking it's fraud syndrome. We all kind of go through that. So it's kind of nice to know for me, like, oh, sure, they make 19 times more than I do or whatever, but we are, all humans, at our base, and we all have our frailties and we all have our insecurities, so that was kind of revelatory to me as well.
Thank you for sharing that. Like, that's important for people listening and watching that will see this for months and years to come. This will live forever. No, I mean, that's really not that everyone hasn't given valuable content today and great feedback and golden nuggets, but that's something I don't think I've heard anyone say on any stream, and I do them every week. So I thank you, both of you, and thank you for saying that, Tony.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
You.
And I want to use Goldie's questions also for you, Larry, because you've been around as well, celebrities. You've been around the world. You've figured out how to create great moments for the Chinese audience, for the Russian audience, for the world. So are there any moments that you remember for yourself? And then after that, I have a different question.
Sure. He was kind of an amazing story. It's still kind of legendary in the business because when it was really started by my friend Alan and I, so it wasn't a big company. We were 2, putzes from New York, and we had an idea and we just weren't smart enough to let it go. So we kept pursuing it until we finally did it. At that time, the going rate for starting a TV network was somewhere between $60 and $100 million. And after 3.5 years, Alan and I finally met somebody who said, I really love this idea, but I can only give you $2.5 million. And we said, well, what do we do with $2.5 million? It costs like 100. And he said, well, that's all I can sign for. So we took that money and said, what the hell, we'll figure out how to make it work. So I called a friend that he was teaching radio, television, film in Austin, Texas, UT. And he sent me 31 interns. So he actually started with 11 employees and 31 interns.
Wow.
And when I first applied, we applied for credentials for the Academy Awards, and we were rejected. They said, why would we possibly let you on the red carpet? You guys, you're cable nothing. So we climbed over the fence.
Get out.
We snuck into the Academy Awards. We ran around there with cameras until security caught us and threw us out.
Yep.
And people started writing letters going, that was amazing. It was like pirate stuff. And it was like great. We were asking people, what did you wear? And, why are you wearing it? And, because we didn't know any better. And people just loved kind of the authenticity of it. I mean, it was as real could be. I mean, so that's one. The other one was, when, we didn't have money to do, like, we knew we couldn't match a network in program quality because we didn't have the equipment or the facilities or anything. So, a lot of stuff we just had to do out of necessity. So, we came up with the idea for Talk Soup. We said, all right, we'll stay Greg Kinnear in front of a green screen, and he'll say, instead of, like an MTV VJ going, Madonna has a new video, it's in Schwarzenegger has a new movie. And so, when I told people, I said, I want to do a TV show that makes fun of TV shows. Everybody said, that's the craziest thing we've ever heard. That could never work. Well, lo and behold, Talk Soup went on 25 years. And it launched Greg's Kinnear, and, Greg went on to win an Academy Award and do all that stuff. And so, a lot of that, met Howard Stern in an elevator in New York when he just had this little radio show, and, told people, I said, I want to put cameras in this radio studio and film this crew. And people said, Larry, we thought Talk Soup was crazy. But, radio went out 40 years ago. What are we going to cover radio for? And, and I said, you just don't get it. This is like the real life WKRP in Cincinnati. This is an ensemble cast. And, so those were two really great moments of, the early days of E!
Thank you. No, Larry, thank you. I was on Talk Soup and it did so much for me. Won't go into it, Mo. But anyway, they really roasted me, and it helped me out a lot. And people were worried that did you see it? And I'm like, yes, I saw, and it was great. So thank you for doing that.
So many people got their starts from there. Henson and Aisha Taylor and stuff. I mean, there's probably 9 or 10 of the people that hosted that went on to bigger and much better things.
Thank you.
I had a conversation with you, Larry, like 5 years ago in Hollywood at some party, and I remember mentioning to you how I loved that show, and you told me that you were the one that actually came up with the whole idea, and everyone frowned upon it, and it ended up becoming this huge mega hit, which seems to be the case with a lot of hits, whether it's hit shows, hit movies, hit songs. It's kind of like there's this stage where people frown upon a project in the beginning, and then it has a cultural impact. Why is that? Why is that? Is that a fair assessment, Larry?
Yeah, no, it's a very fair assessment. Number one, again, it's necessity is the mother of invention. We didn't have money to do like fancy programming. So, I said, hey, I get somebody stand them up in front of a green screen. They could introduce the clips from that very fancy programming. So, we started, doing that and covering Springer and, all those kind of shows. And they realized that it was helping them, so they started promoting us. So, it was something like that really helped us take off. And then we started doing Howard Stern, and Howard would just go on the radio, go, hey, if you can't see me, call your cable operator and tell them you're going to disconnect unless they put this E! channel on. So, we did a lot of stuff because we had to figure it out. And again, we couldn't afford to do the high level programming. So we relied on other people. We started showing movie trailers. And we said, okay, I get a host for, pennies, and he stands in front of a green screen and introduces the best 2 minutes of $100 million movie. You can't do much better than that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And, the two of you have been so generous with your time and so generous with the gift of your wisdom for our audience. So we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes. We want to be respectful of your time. But, Tony, in conclusion, I want to give you the floor for a couple of minutes so you can share a final message to our audience about really what it takes to be a good leader, because the theme of this event is about leadership. So what it really takes, particularly in today's world, to lead your life and lead your business. And then I'm going to ask Larry a question to close out. But Tony, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you for that, Mo. I'll make it short. So in any office I had, and I worked, my way up in the business, I started in market 186 in Eureka, California. There are only 220 markets in the country. But as I got higher and higher, I started as a shooter, writer, producer. When I had an office, I would always keep my office door open, and I had a huge bowl of candy, because people can't resist candy. And I would always have, and when you end up being talent, sometimes people who are PAs or like Larry was saying with interns, they don't want to come talk to you. They feel, but if there's candy, they'll find, hey, can I borrow some candy? And so I always kept my door open because I felt that if I had that openness, because people helped me on the way up, and it was hard. I've got about 100 and some rejection letters that I can show you where like you should get out of the business, which made me think I should be in the business. But I met amazing young people who were someday going to go on and do great things. And I can tell you a quick story. When at Access Hollywood, we took over Johnny Carson's old stage because Jay didn't want to be in there, and Jay was next to us. And so there's that famous hallway in between where all the talent comes for the Tonight Show, and my dressing room was right up from that. And there was this girl who always sat by the back of the talent door, just a page. But she was very kind and nice. And so she used to always chat me up. And finally, I said, well, what do you want to do with your life? She's like, look, I want to be a producer on Access Hollywood. And she worked really hard. So I made a comment. Usually in the summers, we had openings to, for stuff. And she ended up, working her butt off. She went over there and met with our guy. And like today, I think she's one of the senior producers over there. She's done extraordinarily well. My point is just be open to everybody and understand that everybody has a story. And your ability to help human beings goes by the fact that if you open yourself up a little bit to other people and see in them and ask them, hey, how you doing today? What can I do for you? What do you need help in? What's going on in your life? And that really has opened up so many doors for me in a way that has allowed me to still be true to myself. And last real quick thing, when I was starting on the business, I went down to Oakland, California. There was a guy there who was amazing. I called him. I was in college. I'm like, look, you're what I want to be. Can I come down and shadow you? I asked him, I said, look, if you were me, at the age of 19, what would you tell me and tell yourself? And he said, look, I tell you it's going to sound simple, but always be yourself on live television. He goes, don't try to be Joe Anchor, because if something goes wrong, and it's going to go wrong, you're going to have to think for half a second how Joe Anchor would think, as opposed to if you thought just being yourself, you're going to react right away, which is what 99% of the audience has done. So I've always been told, and I've always, for better or for worse, just be myself. Be yourself. I've made a gazillion mistakes on the air, but that's just what it is, and everybody makes them. And so just keep pushing the envelope, pushing like Larry said, it's the mother of invention. A lot of things we didn't have early on in my career, and we would just invent. We didn't have fancy special effects, so we'd spin the camera and do crazy ass things on the carpet to make it look like a swipe and all this special effects stuff. But it worked, and that got me a job in New York City. So
thank you. Thank you, Tony. And Larry, I'm going to ask you a more specific question. So, as you and I both know, once upon a time, there were 3 TV stations, 3 TV networks. And what you saw was what you got, right? If you didn't like what was on ABC, you had to live with what was on CBS. A few years pass, cable, satellite comes in the picture, so suddenly it becomes a few dozen. E! Entertainment, your television network being one of them, right? Today, nobody is sitting around and browsing TV stations and watching something because it just happens to be on. As an example, our TV network, people have to seek it out. People have to actually want to watch content like like what we're producing today. And that's true for everyone. Big, middle, small, doesn't really matter. And so in today's world, the on-demand world, the world where people get to choose the content they watch as opposed to flipping the channels and saying, hey, it's either going to be Talk Soup or Seinfeld. Well, I'm not too interested in Kramer. I'm going to watch Talk Soup. Those days are gone. What advice can you give for companies like us, other media companies, people that are in this space for the modern world? A little more specific question about the landscape of the future.
Well, I mean, number one, for the longest time, I've been saying that, if today I would not start E! the way it is, I wouldn't do a linear TV network. I mean, there's a very simple thing. Do you want to watch NBC? Do you want to watch what NBC wants you to watch when they want you to watch it? Or do you want to watch what you want to watch when you want to watch it on the device that you want to watch it? The answer is obvious. So I think on-demand television television is clearly the wave of the future. Other than news and live sports, there's no reason anything has to be set in time. There's no reason anything has to be set for a certain device. So you got to give people the option to watch what they want to watch it. You give them the option to watch it on whatever device they want to watch it. And, But I think, the main thing that I see a lot of people do wrong now is they get hung up on their ideas. They come up with an idea and they think that this is the greatest idea, and they just stick with it way too long. You got to really be honest with yourself and self-assess and realize that probably 9 out of 10 ideas that you have probably stink. I mean, I know that is for me. I wake up with 10 new ideas every morning, and by the time I go to sleep, I think I got to be the dumbest person in the world while we're thinking. You got to learn to get rid of the bad ones really quick and leave yourself the time and the bandwidth to go after the ones that really could work and resonate with an audience. And again, it's across all technology devices. It's globalism. You got to start thinking of global audiences as opposed to local audiences. And you got to make stuff for all the devices. I mean, in China, 80% of the people who watch my stuff on China watch it on a cell phone. So when we produce in China, our final edit is done on a cell phone, not on a 50-inch TV screen, because we have to experience it the way that the audience will experience it.
Amazing.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that. And I agree, Larry. I mean, a counterintuitive piece of advice might be to quit, but I tell people all the time, winners are quitters. I mean, think about it. You want to quit smoking, you want to quit drinking, you want to quit losing money. You got to quit in life. It's just a question of picking the right things to quit. And with that, folks, I want to thank you guys, Larry and Tony, for graciously sharing your wisdom and your time with this entertainment panel. And I know that the best is yet to come for the both of you. So we appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care, folks. Goldie, Natalie, Mo. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, Larry.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Larry.
Namer.
Amazing, amazing. Bye, Tony.
Great. That was great, guys.
It absolutely was. And we're about to head into our next panel. Before I start the next panel, I want to bring in a couple of the people from the next panel solo. Let's start real quick with David Fagan. David, how are you doing?
Good. You got some great guests here. This is wonderful.
Thank you so much, David. And, you are about to join a panel in a couple minutes here. But before we get into it, I wanted to take a couple minutes and give you the floor so we can talk about your company and the work that you're doing, because you are one of the strategic partners of the LA Tribune. And we're fostering and growing relationships with all sorts of companies that are out there in the world making an impact, companies such as yours. So we just wanted to give you the floor for a couple minutes before we officially start the panel to talk about what you've got going on in the world, David.
Sure. Look, a lot of people know me as someone that excels in publishing and publicity and people's presentations. It's all about, what to say and how to say it. That was my last book, Word Genius, What to Say and How to Say It. But I think, how I'm probably most used nowadays, and I'm okay with being used. We gotta be okay with being used, right? Use me. I'm providing this opportunity. And how I'm getting used most of the time these days is through our joint venture mastermind, something we call Top Talent JV Masterminds. And it's just us bringing together authors, speakers, experts, various show hosts and event producers, and giving them a platform and an opportunity to talk with each other, to connect and to collaborate and to create together. And everybody needs a platform. And if you're feeling a little bit, behind, or you're not quite where you want to be, I firmly believe it's just because you're not talking to enough people or enough of the right kind of people. I know a lot of people are feeling isolated out there. And so, of course, that's what this Top Talent JV community is meant to do. We represent a lot of authors and speakers and show hosts and event producers. And so I'm always trying to get them together. So for years now, I have been giving them this platform where we get on for these 2-3 day events, and we give them opportunities to talk about themselves and introduce themselves. And, I'm happy to be used in this way as a facilitator of talent to talent type introductions. So thank you for letting me share.
Amazing, David. Thank you so much for that. And we're going to go ahead and roll in with this next panel. Wow, we got some real powerful folks here. And let's bring in Goldie back, who's going to be moderating this panel. I mean, this is an incredible group of folks. And I always have a saying, in life, you've got to save the best for last, right? When you go to a concert, you have the opening act. then you have the guy that comes after the opening act, and then you have the headliner. When you go to a comedy show, David Chappelle is not the opening act. The best is always last. And this particular panel was systematically put together because what I know about all four of you is all of you are true leaders. All of you are going out into the world, making a difference. All of you are inspiring people. And so I want to start off with some brief introductions. Of course, Brenda Jones, CEO, trainer. She was one of my many NLP trainers I've had over the years, a columnist with the LA Tribune. But I'll let Brenda give a more in-depth intro, and then we'll go to Sammy, Jennifer, and then back to David. So Brenda, just please give a brief intro to people and what comes to mind when you think about what it means to lead your life and lead your business.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Mo. I am Brenda Jones, CEO and co-founder of Belief Company and senior columnist here at the LA Tribune. And like Mo said, I do a lot with mindset and neuroenergetics, NLP, hypnosis, things like that. And really what we're about is just helping you find like what it is that's stopping you from living that amazing life that you came here to live and lead. And so talking about leadership and what does it mean to lead in life and lead in business, I think it really comes down to being in alignment with you and your mission and your purpose here. And how do you come into full alignment with everything that you came here to learn, to experience, and then how do you take that and go out and massively and positively impact the lives of those around you?
Amazing. And we don't have time for me to start talking about Sammy Mashney. If I start talking about him, our time today will be over. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let him give a brief introduction. There's a lot I can say about him. He's I think his IQ must be between about 750 to 800. That's my personal assessment. So Sammy, give a brief introduction of yourself in your words and what comes to mind when you think of the word leadership.
Well, my name is Sammy Mashney. I'm an attorney. Used to be a pharmacist before, and in the future, I may go ahead and study physics because I keep wondering about the nature of the universe, what's out there. I think about this on a daily basis. What leadership means to me is the opportunity to gently teach others what you believe is the truth about life, what's best for them, to guide them to a better understanding of their life and the world, so that all their internal complex anxiety and things of that sort, they would be able to resolve it by themselves without necessarily relying on doctors who pump pills into them or drugs or things of that sort. I like to teach, not necessarily a curriculum in school, but just teach others what I think is life and how it should be lived, and to achieve simplicity via complexity.
Thank you so much, Sammy, the former pharmacist turned lawyer who's a future physicist. Didn't I tell you guys his IQ was at least 750? There was no hyperbole in my statement. Let's go now to Jennifer. Jennifer, who of course has the mindset diet. You know, Jennifer, in my life, I tried the Atkins diet. It didn't work. I tried the pescatarian diet. It didn't work. I tried the Wendy's and McDonald's diet. That didn't work. But when I tried the mindset diet, it worked. I want you to talk a little bit about your company, what you got going on in the world, and what comes to mind when you think of leadership.
Hey, Mo. Thank you, Mo, Goldie, Natalie, and all of Angeles Tribune. I'm blessed to be here today and to speak to everybody and my lovely friend Brenda. And so first and foremost, what we do is we teach exceptional entrepreneurial women how to have unstoppable confidence so that they can go out and they can be those change makers in the world and they can increase their profits all at the same time. You know, what leadership means to me is somebody who's willing to stand up for something, regardless of what that is. They want their voice to be heard. They have an opinion about something, and they're out there wanting to change the world. They're out there wanting to transform lives through their words, through their actions, and that they live what they teach. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Jennifer. And we did do a brief intro a little bit with David, but I'm going to let him introduce himself, talk about what leadership means to him. Then I'm going to hand the reign to Miss Goldilocks, who's done such a remarkable job from 10 a.m. to now 8:30 p.m. here in LA. Always on point, doing such a marvelous job as our MC. And Goldie and I, what few people know is we actually go 20 years back, and that's 20 or 21 years, Goldie.
I'm back at the physicist over here.
There you go.
Goals
But
back there.
David, let's have you introduce yourself in your words, right? Again, much like Sammy, I can talk a lot about you. Of course, you and I, we've done so many cool things together over the years. We've done some humanitarian projects together. We've we did a children's orphanage where we refurbished it. We did so many cool things over the years, David, and as well as some business projects. But I want you to talk about who's David Fagan in your words, and what comes to mind when you think of the word leadership.
Yeah. First, I just have to say really quickly, Goldie, in that last segment, a couple times when you go to clap, you go like this really quickly. And for a split second, it looks like you're going like this. Like you're doing the dollar story like this. I thought, wait a second.
No, David, don't go there. I'll get in trouble with Mo.
Like, you know what? That works. From now on, I'm not going to do the golf clap anymore. If someone's saying something I like, I think I'm going to do this. I think I like that.
You take that up with Mo. And you know what I see, David, is massive bat wings flapping underneath my arm going, lower your arms, Goldie. No, I mean, Brenda, come on.
I had to say that, but Larry Namer was talking. It looked like you're going like this. And I thought, it works. Hey, a lot of people know me as the former CEO of Guerrilla Marketing. I got to ride the coattails of some pretty powerful mentors, including Jay Conrad Levinson, who founded Guerrilla Marketing. Between me and him, we've sold about 23 million books in 62 languages around the world. And of course, he gets all the credit. But I've had another great mentor called Michael Levine, a Beverly Hills, publicist. And that's probably how people know me nowadays, as a publisher and a publicist. But I've had amazing mentors, and so what makes me up and who I am is only as good as the people that I have found to mentor me. I have a passion, for being mentored as well as mentoring others. And for me, it's all about what to say and how to say it. How are you going to show up, right? How are you going to talk about yourself? How are you going to talk about other people? And so that was my last book, Word Genius, What to Say and How to Say It. And when people hire me and actually pay me to do things, it's publishing and publicity and presentations. But really these days, I spend a lot of time on what we call our top talent JV masterminds, where, we'll have anywhere from 100 to 300 people on a day. And we're just putting people in breakout groups and introducing people. And, hey, if I put you in my magazine, will you put me on your show? And, hey, if I send out an email to you, will you put me in your newsletter? And just facilitating that. And a lot of times, if you are giving and serving and sharing strategically, it shouldn't be too shocking how much that'll come back to you. And so, that's kind of my way of doing business in this world. And I know that I'm not the only one here.
I appreciate you saying that. We had Matthew Lesko on the show earlier, the question mark man. And one of the things that I think it was he that was memorable for this was the wait, there's more. I think that was him, wasn't it? Yeah.
More.
Wait, there's more. Yeah. And I was thinking a question that I wanted to ask each one of you, and you can speak as long as you need to or as short as you want to. In your moment, in your career leadership, when was there a moment? What was your and wait, there's more, your aha moment, like where it's just a memory or something, because this is quantum leap. We're leaping into that, like just something, because the last panel that we were on, I was like blown away. Tony had some things where I was like, whoa, I've never heard anything like that. And then Natalie asked that of Mr. Namer. And I wanted to kind of ask that of each of you, like what was your and wait, there's more, where you just weren't expecting that and it helped you become and grow and be a better leader?
Yeah.
Who wants to go? Sammy?
Well, I'll take a stab at it.
Yeah, let's hear. Physicist.
You see, my concept of leadership started before I was self-employed as an attorney. When I used to work as a pharmacist, I always resented how like the retail chain drugstore industry treated us. We were supposed to be quote unquote professionals, but they treated us like dirt. The only thing that matters is the rule that the customer is always right. You gotta suck it up, and regardless of what happens. So I resented this. I had conflicts, and this is one of the main reasons why I decided, you know what, this profession is not good for me anymore, and I wanted to do something where I work for myself, and if I have to speak up, fight, the good fight, I will prosper, as opposed to be disciplined or anything of that sort. And I made myself a promise, and I said that if and when I become an employer, I will make sure I will treat my employees better than what my employers treated me. And since then, I had people employed. Every day when I come to work, I go say good morning to everyone. My door is open.
The candy dish.
If they have personal problems outside the office, I help them. I go out of my way to be like a brother or a father to them, because that's the best way to get the best out of the people who work with you. And I don't call myself a boss. When they call me boss, so no, we work together. We are as equal as we could be. And to me, it's the concept that evolved over time. I cannot think of a particular moment, an aha moment or something of that sort. So I guess my story is not as sexy as the others, but that's my answer to this question.
Dude, that's a sexy story. Thank you. Brenda.
But wait, there's more. I had to think about it for a sec.
I know, it's a weird question. I had to think about it. That's why I'm asking you guys.
But you know what I like? So the memory that came to me when you said, what's a specific memory? And I would say that it was when my older daughter was little, and the day that she came home and said, "Hey, Mom, I don't want kids." And she was little. And as a stay-at-home mom, that was like the total, gut punch. And you smile and you don't cry. But why, baby? Well, because I want to have a career. And I had realized that was that moment, because I was kind of dabbling on the side. I was kind of sort of working as an excuse to get out of the house and not feel guilty. And at the same time, it was in that moment that I realized I was not showing her that she could have everything, that my whole lifelong dream of wanting to be a mom, but then not feeling fulfilled by that, but then having that tug of war, that conflict, kind of like Sammy was just talking about, that conflict of leaving pharmacy and going into doing something else. That conflict there of, I've always wanted to be a mom. How dare I want something more than that? And it was in that moment when she said that I realized I was not showing her that I could be the mom I wanted to be, and I could run a business, I could work, I could do these other things. And that was really but wait, there's more. Because if I was going to bring her up to really living a limitless life, I needed to stop showing her limits. And so I think that was that moment for me.
Two different points, but still connected.
I want to bring David in this, because what David has been all over television talking about the unique approach that he takes to being a parent. And David, I don't know if you want to go there or not, but you're out there, you're a public figure. It's basically public knowledge. But can you talk a little bit about that? Because you have a real unique approach where you instill self-reliance, and you instill self-reliance principles in a very unique way that's very unconventional. And I think since Brenda brought up being a parent, it would be a good segue to you to talk a little bit about this.
Sure. Well, the quick answer to your first question is, on leadership, and this ties into what you're asking right now, is it's really somebody who brings out the best in others. That's what it is for me. I think best leaders have the ability to see the full potential, maybe even potential you don't see in yourself, and really bring out the best, inspire you to be that best, give you a way to become that best version of yourself. And specifically to what you're speaking of is, I'm a big fan of what I call guerrilla parenting. That's something that I kind of pulled out of the guerrilla marketing universe. And I've written a lot of books, and I don't promote the guerrilla parenting book at all. And yet it still sells, more books than probably all my other books combined. Now, I make more money from my other books when it comes to clients and business, but I've had the opportunity to do quite a bit in media when it comes to entrepreneur education, and it's kind of surprising that it's a shocking view that's newsworthy, But I tell people all the time, I refuse to pay for my kids' college education. I mean, I've been on Fox News talking about that. I've been on Neil Cavuto. I've been on Fox and Friends, and I haven't saved one penny for my kids' college education. And I just believe that people don't really figure out what they're capable of until they have to figure out what they're capable of. And a lot of times nowadays, we rescue people. As parents, we rescue our kids. As coaches, sometimes we even rescue our clients. As friends, sometimes we want to rescue each other. And there's a lot of wisdom in being able to know when you shouldn't rescue somebody and sit back and just kind of see what happens and say, wow, this is kind of tough, isn't it? Or this is kind of difficult, isn't it? Man, what are you gonna do? And some of the most magical times is when I've seen my children pray for things, ask for things, think about things, research things, consider things. And imagine, had I just given them the answer, they never would have been humble. They never would have went to such great lengths to figure out the answers for themselves. And that's really when we learn. And that's probably why people go around saying, man, we've got a lot of snowflakes in the universe now. We got a lot of people that can't handle things. We got a lot of young people. I really believe in the young people, but I think there's a lot of people that are, put the young people under a lot of scrutiny. Well, it's because we're constantly trying to save them from being, bullied, and save them from a bad grade, and save them from a bad, we want to give them a trophy for everything. And we're just trying to rescue and save and helicopter and all this other stuff. But the magic comes from when you sit back and trust in the teachings that hopefully you've instilled, and you teach them how to do it for themselves rather than doing it for them.
Brenda Jones, pay for your children's education, yes or no?
No. It's an interesting answer. And I kind of like what David was saying. I'm not even necessarily wanting my kids to go to college unless they're choosing to go to some kind of career that's going to require that. I really don't see the point for them. They dance, so I pay for dance. I pay a lot for dance. I've paid a few college tuitions over for dance. And that is really where they are going to shine. That is how they are going to be able to pay for college, should that be the route they go. And honestly, if that's not the route they go, I'm more than supportive of them going the entrepreneurial route. Absolutely.
Interesting. Well, I wasn't expecting that answer. I was hoping to create a contentious moment, but I failed. So I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna give the floor back to Gold.
Jennifer, we didn't hear from you on the last question, but your weight there's more.
My weight, there's more. Everybody's got a past. Everybody's been through their fair share of challenges and life experiences, as I like to call them, growing up. And, when I found out the power of how much all of that was currently affecting my life, I knew that something different. I had a high executive in corporate America, and I was miserable. And, I was and my paychecks were the same. And it was great. I had plenty of that, but then I became a mom. And now I have what kind of example did I want to set for my daughter? Said is, I wanted to have my own hours because single mom, and I made that decision while I was pregnant that I was alone. And so I knew that I had to have some kind of balance in order for me to be able to do that. And corporate America did not provide that for me. And so I wanted that freedom, as well as I knew how much I had overcame all my life experiences. And so I wanted to go out, wanted to help other women do the same instead of watching them go in this downward spiral or just stay still. I wanted to help them see what their life is and how it can be by simply taking something they're good at and making out of it themselves more confident so that they can do things that one time were only a dream to them. I wanted to help them bring that into their reality because I had been able to do that for myself. Me and my daughter live a great life. I wanted other people to do the same. And I'm with Brenda on this. I, as well, don't encourage my daughter. I don't hound in the importance of college education. I hound in the importance of her deciding what she wants to do for herself, taking her passion into a business. And, at the same time, I believe, what David Fagan said, and I as well teach my daughter, everything is a negotiation. If I tell you no, you should never accept that as an answer. Come with a better negotiation so that we can turn it into a yes. So that's my thought.
That's a great answer. And here's Mo Rock, nowhere near his chair. Mo, I'm trying to put you over, bro. I'm waiting for him to get back from Dooley or wherever he's at. I was going to say a great title for a book is Lead by Example, the title of Mo Rock's best-selling book. We were all talking, or Brenda was, Jennifer, David, examples, things that you do for examples for your kids. So let's just talk, because I don't know how late we're going. I think we're closing pretty soon, but we all know that we're here for the Quantum Leap, a leadership forum summit. So not do you lead by example, but how do you lead by example? I want to hear from everyone as just a chance to shine and put yourself over. That's a wrestling term. Compliment yourself, pat yourself on the back, and let everybody watching and listening know like what you do in your business or what's unique to your business that you show people by example that you are a leader. Do I need to pick you? David.
I will start.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, David.
No, go ahead, Jennifer.
Okay. So like my friend Julie Carrier always says, you've got to flip that switch. And that's what I have here is that you've got to flip that switch. You've got to know when it's time to work and when it's time to be a parent. And I definitely balance the two as well as I can. I still tell my daughter, she's like, you're working. I'm like, this roof doesn't pay for itself. Your fancy little lifestyle is not paying for itself. But what I do is I work on myself every single day. We can always stop. We can never stop learning, right? Because when you stop learning, you stop growing. And, my daughter's going through the whole COVID experience at school, and I try to teach her, we're all going through the same thing. So all we can do is be there for each other, uplift each other. When I work with my clients, it's always about empowering them to know what their worth is, because it's astonishing to know how many women entrepreneurs don't have that answer, and they don't believe they're worth what their dreams are worth. And it's heartbreaking. And so, I really strive to the best person I can be every day. I want the same person you see here to be the same person you see when you walk to that grocery store, to be the same person you see everywhere, because I'm my best authentic self, and I'm not for everyone. And I'm okay with that. And you need to be okay with not being for everyone, right? You're going to hear people love you, and then people don't love you. And that's okay, because I'm going to be myself, and I'm not going to change that for the paycheck. I'm not going to change that for anything in this world. And I think that that's why I'm so highly blessed, is that all I can be is me. And I encourage everyone who's here to just be you, own who you are, and be darn proud of who you are, because we're all here for a purpose, right? So that's it.
I appreciate that. I needed to hear that myself tonight. So that was a message that was well received. Thank you. David, you were next. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I think that there's another word, modeling, to model what it is that you want people to do.
Okay.
And modeling isn't just an example. And one of the reasons why I like the word modeling is because I think an example is kind of more like long-term, big moments over a great period of time. But I think that there's more specific ways that you can model certain things, even in a conversation. And I'm a big believer in life-changing conversations. And one of the things that I thought of when you were saying, but wait, there's more, I started thinking of all these life-changing conversations I've had.
Okay.
Conversations where somebody has said something to me. It's like, man, that changed my life. And vice versa, where people, I've had times with people and I've said things to them and they said, wow, that was an aha moment. That was a breakthrough. And I think we have to become noticeably aware of what people are saying to us, because sometimes we don't even realize when we're modeling things. We don't even necessarily realizing when we're creating the aha moments and the breakthroughs. And so when somebody says, oh, wow, I really like that, it's like, wait, stop. What did I say? Okay, let me write that down, because now I want to say it on purpose again. So becoming aware and getting on purpose and saying things in a way that's designed to get a specific result. I think great leaders inspire action in every audience and every individual. So I'm always trying to inspire action. And so when I'm inspiring action and creating want, I'm helping them realize that. So I'm not just modeling it, but I'm getting them to say, hey, you did this for me. You know, I'm getting to them to say, hey, I want this, right? So I actually have a list of 17 different ways to create want that goes through every single thing you could do to get featured in the news or the media. How many of you guys would like to see that? Anybody here want to see that? Okay, well, I'm not going to give it to you, but that's, it's my way of creating want, right? So the more we build up the perception of value, right, and the more we model the things we want to do and get the desired result, it's that experience that anchors them and inspires action. I think that's what we want. We can all teach people all these things, but unless anybody actually does anything, it's really not going to go anywhere, right? So how do we inspire action? How do we create want? How do we model? Thank you, Goldie, for letting me share.
That was great. No, different. I like all the different answers. I like catching you guys off guard because everybody's been doing it to me all day long. Mo, Sammy.
Well, it's the little things you do every day. Like, for example, if something is spilled on the floor, I don't ask someone to go clean it or wait for somebody to do it. No, I get up, I bring the broom, or I take care of it in front of them, and they're all looking at me and, well, let me do it. So it's okay, it's done. It's like whenever you have a difficult client that people, like, they're uncomfortable, to deal with, I don't even wait to be asked. I go immediately and meet with that client and set them straight, modify their expectations so that my employees don't feel like they're pressured or they're being picked on. And I always tell them, I will treat you better than, if it becomes to being a contest, better than our clients, because you work with me all the time. We're on the trenches. We fight the same war, although it's not a real war, but we're kind of on the same team. So these little things here and there, I will always assure them that you are their protector, their leader, someone they can trust, and they can go out on a limb for you because they know for sure that if the S hits the fan, that will back them up, and you're not going to just look around and pretend you're not there.
Beautiful answer. Beautiful. Your comment earlier that you said about when you were the pharmacist and they hammered in the customer is always right, and I don't know what era that was in, because I'll share a quick story with you. I went into the Home Depot the other day, and with my new Nike pink powder pink shoes, I was pretty proud of those. Got them off eBay, TMI. And I went in there and I was so proud of my discount shoes because they were normally like really expensive, Sammy. And I was like, I can get these used pair of shoes, still expensive, proud. And I walked in, and apparently everybody brings their dog into Home Depot now, not even service dogs. And I stepped in a pile of something you insinuated hits the fan. Big, juicy, fresh piece of stuff, right? And I was mortified because my new shoes are completely ruined. And I looked over and I just said, is somebody gonna clean this up, because customers are walking through? And the guy looked at me and he said, you know what, lady, that's not my job. They don't pay me enough. And I'm like, well, whose job? Here's the kicker of it. Later on that week, that same guy found me on Match.com, and you can bet that I had a message back to him, and that was, so there has been a shift where, the employee doesn't really matter. The customer doesn't even really matter. And your story resonates, in my heart and on my shoe with, it is good to take care of the people.
By the way, if I was there personally, whether I'm the manager or not, I would have immediately jumped to assist. That's kind of in me. Whenever I see something going wrong or someone needs assistance or there's a crisis, I immediately jump, whether it's my job or somebody else's job. That's just kind of in my DNA. And in my mind, this is like one of the attributes of leadership, is to step up to the plate whenever the need is there.
Step up and don't step in. Brenda, I think we're going to end with you. And then Mo, tell us what our time is. It looks like we only have 4 minutes left. So
Absolutely. I'm going to bring Dr. Natalie Forrest back in as well. And we're going to do a rapid fire where everyone is going to have a chance to speak and give some final concluding thoughts on this particular subject matter. Then I'm going to ask you guys to stick around for a couple more minutes and we'll do another rapid fire. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and give everyone the floor, starting with Brenda Jones. We're going to give you the solo view so you can have the floor for a couple minutes to let people know what's in your mind, what's in your heart. I feel like we're doing the Brady Bunch show now, but we're going to go ahead and give Brenda the floor. Brenda, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mo. To kind of finish up the topic that we were talking about is, really where does that leadership come from? And, playing into what everybody was talking about, it really comes down to stepping up, like Goldie said, stepping up, not stepping in, and really being there, not just because it's your job or because someone told you to, but going into every single day of how can I give? How can I support? How can I help? Because if we all come to the table with how can I give today, we don't have to worry about whether or not we get, because when everyone comes in give mode, by definition, you're going to get whatever it is that you're needing. And I think that just shifts the energy. So for me, it's jumping in wherever I can help out. And if I don't know how I can help, saying, I'm here, use me, what do you need? And, let me support you in this, because we're not supposed to be doing this alone, right? Leadership is not about being the leader and the only person. I love the concept of leading from the back and really supporting everybody else that's going out ahead of you, and being there to pick up the slack where it needs to be, but leading from the back of the group and being that support person that really everybody can fall back on. For me, that is what I show my kids. That's what I show the girls at the dance studio. That's what I show our students, our clients, et cetera, is that we are here to support you in any way, shape, or form for you to be your amazing self that you came here to be.
Thank you, Brenda. Let's go now to Jennifer Kobuki. Floor is yours, Ms. K.
As James Malinchak said earlier, there's 3 steps to leadership, right? You've got mindset, skills, and you've got to get off your assets, right? All of that is fantastic, and all of that is so true, because you do have to take action. But here's the missing part. We go to so many summits, we go to so many conferences, so many classes, and we're all revved up and ready to take that action. And now is the time for you to believe in yourself so that you can take that action that you're willing to take. Because in these summits are filled with so many comments of, I just wish I could do it. I'm scared, fear and all of this stuff. And you can have all the knowledge in the world, but you've got to step up and take that action, just as Brenda just said. And you do that by believing in yourself first. You've got to believe in yourself and have that confidence so that you can take the action that you so are ready to take. But again, it starts with you and it ends with you. You've got to get up and you've got to stand up and be proud of who you are and just rock your life. It's 2021, and 2020 was all about being, and we've got to pivot back, and you've got to sit there and you've got to go with the flow, and you've got to be ready to change and to stand up and take that action. And you do that by starting to believe in this person first. Yourself in the mirror every day and say, I have this, I'm worth it, and I'm good enough. Get to it.
Thank you. There was a little bit of auto-tune T-Pain in the last couple of seconds, but we still heard most of everything you said. Between you and Brenda, I just want to go back and forth between the two of you for a few more times, because you guys are hitting some home runs and hitting it out of the park. Let's go to David Fagan. David, floor is yours.
Man, how do we keep going? How can we keep doing this? If you guys are the ones that are hitting out of the park here, I'm surprised you threw it back to me. You threw me off there for a second. You're like, we're just going to keep going between the two of you. Now, David Fagan, what do you want to know now, Mo? What do you want to know? What do you want to know that they didn't cover? Give me something new. Give me a challenge. Throw hard.
David, here, let me keep it real with you, bro. Let me actually exit this and speak from the heart with you. So you love to talk about marketing and you love to talk about business strategy, but I think that you don't realize, if you wanted to, you could really be the inspiration guy. You could really be the motivation guy. For some reason, you don't do that, but I'm telling you, you could if you wanted to. So I'm interested in the future, David Fagan. I'm talking, the David Fagan of 2028, I think, is going to be the Mr. Inspiration. That's just my suspicion, because you love to talk about the technical stuff, and you're a fantastic networker, and you know, you connect people on a daily basis and change people's lives with the deals that you facilitate. But if you choose to be somebody like a Les Brown or a Jack Canfield or some of the incredible speakers that are part of this event, like Joe Vitale, Lisa Nichols, people that focus on the inspiration, motivation, and pushing them in the right direction, you could do that if you wanted to, and I think that's in the future for you if you choose to take it. So that's a David Fagan that I'm planting the seed of right now, right here. And so I want that David Fagan. The floor is yours, Mr. David Fagan, aka Mr. Inspiration.
Well, thank you. Yes, I do have a couple new projects on the works. A few of them are books. One of them is called Becoming Significant. And it's all about the words you live by, the actions, the things that you do, and really what it means to be significant, to lead and live a life of significance. And I have something else that I'm finishing as well, and it's a project on the perfect day, right? How do you accomplish the perfect day? What does it mean to have the perfect day? And I kind of have a personal passion for having the perfect day. I've come to the realization over years of, man, today was a great day. It was like the perfect day. And I started realizing, well, what made it a perfect day? And well, couldn't I just do those things to make it the perfect day on purpose rather than just kind of waiting to accidentally, fall into it? And so I've become somewhat of an experience junkie, kind of a moment millionaire, if you will. And I've kind of had this pursuit of, okay, how do we go out and live and have, the perfect day? What are the things I would do? What are the things I would take action on? What are the things I would avoid? Right. And what's funny is I think when people hear the perfect day, they think, oh, isn't that perfectionism? And boy, that seems like a hard way to live. But really, the other side of a perfect day is having gratitude and appreciation. And what happens is you set all these intentions of this is what I need to do to accomplish to have a perfect day. But there's also this process at the end of the day to say, well, I'm so grateful that this happened. I'm so, happy that I had this experience. And man, this could have been worse and that could have been worse. And what happens is there's sort of this meeting in the middle of what you accomplished as well as what you're grateful and appreciative of. And you have a happy day. And I think that a lot of people out there are chasing these long-term goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals, 3-year goals, 1-year goals. And I'm kind of more like a power play guy, right? What's the power play? What can I do in the next 3 to 6 weeks to make me money or get me results? What can I do in the next 4 to 8 weeks to make me money or get myself results? And even more so over the last 4 or 5 years, I've been more of like a perfect day kind of guy, right? How am I present? How am I managing the moments? What's my intention? How do I want to eat today? How do I want to exercise today? How do I want to give? How do I want to serve? How do I want to share? I'm going to clear out my email. I'm going to do these things. And so at night, as I'm kind of doing this mental checklist, I'm having just a ton of happiness, a ton of joy, because I'm sitting there going, man, maybe I didn't do everything I wanted to today, but look at how much I accomplished. I'm checking them off the list. I'm having the gratitude. I'm having the appreciation. And man, today was a perfect day. And not every day is a perfect day, but pretty soon you start streaming together these perfect days, and perfect days become weeks and months and years. Not that every day was perfect during the week and every day was perfect during the month, but you have enough perfect days that happiness comes easy, joy comes easier, and there's this intention instead of waiting around for the feeling of, wow, somehow today it was just a really good day. Instead of waiting around for that, saying, hey, I'm going to create that. I know what my perfect day looks like. I'm going to do that tomorrow. How am I going to set it up the night before? What are my routines? What are my rituals? And all of a sudden, accidentally on purpose, you've got some habits, and we know the power of habits. But instead of so much long-term, how do you do it short-term and in the moment? And so I'm excited about my perfect day activity book, where it will give you a series of questions and checklists so that you can start pursuing and chasing and realizing your own perfect day in your life.
I think that's brilliant, and I never ever thought of it in that context. I've heard of stay in the moment, be here now, focus on every little choice you make, and the compound effect of choices. But I never ever heard anyone put it the way that you just put it. Just think about crafting the perfect day. So I think you're onto something huge. I think you're onto something brilliant, David, and we support you 100%. Let's give the floor now to Sammy Mashney. Sammy Mashney, the floor is yours.
Yes, to be able to lead others in the right direction, you have to first learn how to lead yourself, because yourself is not one entity. It's your willpower, your subconscious brain, and your body. If you imagine a car that has a body, that has an engine, and that has a driver, these are three separate entities. Now, your willpower is like the driver of the car. Your subconscious brain is like the engine of the car, and the body of the car is like your body. Now, when we drive a car, we don't let the engine just go wherever it chooses without us deciding where the car goes, because we don't want to go downhill, we don't want to wreck, we don't want to hit any other cars. So we control the car. The same way our subconscious brain, which has been programmed and conditioned throughout our experiences, fear, hatred, prejudice, we like this food, we don't like that food. So it tends to control us without us noticing that and knowing that. And very often that gives us limitations, anxiety, irrational phobia towards something or that. So my point is that we have to learn how to completely control our subconscious brain in a way that our willpower decides what to do rather than our conscious brain. And I use, like, for example, I demonstrate this to, like, my workers. I'll be eating almonds, for example. I throw an almond on the floor, leave it there for a few seconds, then pick it up and eat it, put it in my mouth. They go, well, the devil kissed it, and etc. I say, no, it's just, that's what your subconscious brain is telling you. When you eat it, it's just going to go hydrochloric acid in your stomach. It's going to kill all the germs. Even if there are some germs, you have enough immunity and conditioning. So, and I use this type of behavior and example in almost everything I do. I do it different than others because I say, you know what? I decide what to do, not my subconscious brain decides what to do. I lead myself. I lead my life. And this thinking enables me to better lead others, because I will lead them with logic, with common sense, rather than with instincts, feelings, fear, and things of that sort.
Amazing. And I appreciate that, Sammy. And guys, we are about to wrap up day one of the Quantum Leap Forum. We have produced over 10 hours of content on day one that's going to be curated and put in various different places. But before we get into that, I want to give everyone one more final minute to talk about what the Quantum Leap Forum has meant to them. I know a lot of you guys have been watching. I'm talking now to Brenda, David, Jen, and Sammy. So I want your some feedback as far as what the forum has meant, the impact that it's made. We have people tuning in from all over the world now, and mostly after the fact. But Brenda, let's start with you. What impact has the Quantum Leap Forum made for you, and what do you see it's doing, the ripple effect for the world?
Thanks, Mo. Quantum Leap, it's brought together some beautiful minds. And it's one of those things that they might be saying those things that you've always heard, but they're saying it to a version of you that maybe didn't hear it the right way before, or they say it in a different way that all of a sudden it clicks and it makes sense. And it's all about taking those tiny little pieces. And when you put those little tiny pieces together, that's really where that quantum leap comes from. So many people think that we have to go to these huge events in order to make that massive shift in life. And sometimes it's one little phrase, one little story that one person said in that 30-second clip that was exactly what you needed to make that massive shift in your life. And that's really what Quantum Leap has done, is bring together just a bunch of amazing and beautiful and great minds that can offer that ability to every single person who's attending.
Thank you, Brenda. Jennifer.
Okay, so you have seen so many rock stars all in one place, and this is only day one. Day two is even more. And you see the people they are today, right? They're all mega leaders. They're all wildly successful. And you may be sitting in your seat right now thinking that you can never become them because you see who they are today. But what you haven't seen is the road that it took them to get there. And the one thing they had is the one thing that I'm always saying, and that is belief. It started with belief, because every single person you've heard today has been rejected and denied at some point in their life, and that never stopped them. So take the value you got today, implement it into your life, into your business. Don't let this be just another, fun thing you're doing on a Saturday and Sunday. Implement it. Take it. Right now is your time. You're here for a reason, and now is your time. And let's make 2021 amazing together instead of letting it be a repeat of every other year.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I know David has put in, has created some of the most successful events himself in the personal development and professional development industry. And so he is a seasoned veteran when it comes to producing high quality, high end events that people want to keep coming back to. So I'm curious, David, what has the Quantum Leap meant for you from that perspective?
It's a lot of things, but I'd have to boil it down to one word more than anything else. And that one word is access. I mean, it's just amazing, amazing access to experts. And it may seem hard, and it's probably is a little bit hard, but overall, it's not as hard as it probably seems right now to get access to these people. Like, I'm watching these people like Larry Namer and, some of these guys that you've had on here, I can call that guy, or I can message that guy and say, hey, I just saw you on the Los Angeles Tribune Quantum Leap, and I know Mo, and man, I loved how you spoke about this or that. I could say some very specific things, and I've got a pretty good shot. He's probably going to message me back. Now, will it turn into anything? I don't know. Is it a numbers game? Probably. But the access here is absolutely, phenomenal. What you're doing is you're creating a community. You're bringing together, some wonderful experts. And if you're not taking advantage of the people you're seeing here by reaching out to them and complimenting them and trying to get together with them or to add value to them, to give, serve, and share with them, then you're probably missing the biggest opportunity that Mo is giving you the gift of.
Thank you for that, David. I appreciate you, sir. Sammy.
Yes, Mo, you, Natalie, and Goldie are doing really a great job. I think you're of the Larry King caliber, Mo, and you and Natalie and Goldie, you run a very well produced show. To me, although I've been thinking for so many decades, but this is to me a new opportunity to be able to broadcast what I think to others. I know I have content. It's just I have not been able to produce it or put it in marketable format. But it's a great opportunity for me to be able to air out my views and tell people what I think, listen to what they have to say. And every time I listen to a panel, I learn a bit here, a bit there, which helps me hone and polish my thinking in a way that in the next event I will have did what David says, perfect day or perfect event. And I'm very appreciative for all speakers and look forward to do more and more in the future.
Thank you so much, Sammy. I want to thank the four of you for joining and being our expert panelists. I want to thank Goldie and Natalie for spending the last 12, 13 hours to make sure that this happens for our global community. Thank you guys so much. And can the four of you join me in giving Goldie and Natalie a round of applause, please?
Give Natalie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go, David.
Oh, there we go. Make it rain, Goldie. And so just final thoughts. Let's hear just some final quick thoughts from Goldie and final quick thoughts from Natalie. Then we're going to shut this thing down and see you guys tomorrow morning. But Goldie, floor is yours.
Fast thoughts. I just wanted to say, Sammy, I'm blown away that you speak so many languages and that English might be your second language and that you get our humor so well. Like I appreciate that, and your brain just works in a different way.
Amazing. Goldie, he didn't just come to this country like 2 weeks ago.
No, but I mean, he speaks obviously. Shut up, Mo.
He's been here for a few decades.
Go away. Natalie, your daughter coming in and her mannerisms was exactly you. That was the most precious thing of tonight. The way she spoke, it was just like a little mini you. So I absolutely love that. David, thank you for everything that you said tonight. I learned so much. And Jennifer, it's just nice to see a chick that's not a witch. I'll choose your other word. That's empowering other people, and you're great. Like I can actually swallow what you're saying because I'm listening. And Brenda, to piggyback off of what you were saying, the two words, two things that I got out of tonight. But I will say, Mo, they're back in the day, Mo, and still sometimes I used to do motivational speaking in schools. And I would always tell the teachers when I would do an okay job connecting with the kids, I would say, Brenda, that I'm not saying anything differently than all of you say, or the parents are saying. I just am a different person with different hair and brightly colored clothes and whatnot. And it's a different package. And tonight, really resonated with me, Mo, and everyone on the panel was sincerity and authenticity. Yep. and being yourself. And if you screw up, like, what was his name? Tony said on the red carpet, like you want to screw up and be yourself and not try to quick scramble and fix somebody else that you're not. And I learned a lot today, and I really had some huge take homes from Carlos and from Forbes of like where I was listening going, I'm just gonna lay it out there that I changed my mind, like the theme of today. I changed my mind that the way I was doing things yesterday might not be as good or as impactful as I could do them with these new pieces of advice. So my advice to the people that are listening and watching and all the supporters of ours, thank you so much, and the Los Angeles Tribune, is what Jennifer was saying, what you did here today. Just start with one thing, implement one thing on Monday or Sunday, or try two things. Or what David was saying is like, what's it look like right here? You don't have to go out way here. Like just start digging away and do little bits to change and make that progress. Thank you, Mo. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you for having me today.
Love you, Goldie. Natalie, final words. If only life was that easy where I could just push a button and mute someone. But Natalie, you are muted. So
there you go, Natalie.
Of course. That's because I don't know what to say. I go last every time, and it's like, what can I say now? How can I sound intelligent? But I think the things that the Quantum Leap Forum means to me is what some of you have referred to and what every single expert mentioned, and that is connection. That we're here to help connect people, that we're here to help empower people to take that one step, to reach out to somebody else, to understand that we're not alone. Entrepreneurs love to think we're alone and we can't do it, but let's face it, we can't. So being authentic, and something else that was said over and over again that I resonate with always is, I may not fit in, and guess what? That's okay, and it's better than okay, because you're here to be you. Nobody else is you. And in the puzzle of the world, what we did today and what we'll continue doing tomorrow and the day after is we're bringing all of those amazing puzzle pieces together so that the puzzle of humanity can really shine together. And that's what it is for me. It's be authentic, truthful, and to be revolutionary in how we approach things, because that's what everybody on this panel and every day has done, thinking and doing differently.
Thank you so much.
Mo,
yes.
No, stop, Mo. Thank you, because you have created this. And I had to shut you down for a second because you let everybody else speak, but you need to take some credit too. You've created this atmosphere for everybody. And that is something that a leader does. So I want to thank you for leading the Tribune and for leading all of us to a better humanity and a better connection.
Thank you so much, Dr. Natalie Forrest. I appreciate that so much. And I just want to quickly remind everyone, and I hear that and I feel that, Natalie. I want to quickly remind everyone, tomorrow at 10 a.m., join us, day 2. And this 2-day event is dedicated to the memory of Frank Shankowitz, who was invited to be a part of this event. Frank Shankowitz is the creator and founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We invited him to be part of this, but sadly we lost him. And so we're dedicating this entire 2-day event to Frank Shankowitz, who's still going to be a part of this event wherever he is. So we love you, Frank. and we appreciate all the work that you've done in the world. With that being said, thank you guys. This has been day 1, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning for day 2.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.